Welcome into the Midday Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Ray Dunn. Amy Fadul with us for this Wednesday. Hello, Amy.
Good morning.
How are you?
Victory Wednesday.
Yeah, Victory Wednesday. Double Victory Wednesday.
Double Victory Wednesday.
Back to back for the baseball team. I cannot believe I had the old man syndrome last night where I was like, no, I'm just resting my eyes.
Oh, no.
And when I got to the ninth inning, I was at that point where I'm like, I'm just resting my eyes. And Marshawn comes up, and I kind of drifted back. And I was like, all right, no, you got to lock in. You got to lock in. Ninth inning. Thank God I did, because there was a part of me that's like, Marshawn's up. Maybe I could just nod off here.
That's fine.
They're not going to pinch hit it. Might as well just, nope, thank God I didn't. Oh, this team just finds a way again.
It's incredible, though. That game was Ohtani, 5 shutout. Also, he's inventing new clubs, right? Mm-hmm. The new clubs that he joined was a guy that struck out 50 people and then has also hit 50 home runs. These clubs that he's making up, no one will ever join the clubs. He is their solo member.
Guy that throws 5 no-hit innings and also hits his 50th home run in the game.
And then the next inning, it was like, oh, he's gone? Thank God.
I'm going to say it. It was sobriety. They finally sobered up. They finally got a little water, a little electrolytes into the system. Everyone's had a slow next day. They just finally got to their whatever version of noontime is, because that's usually, you have a nice night.
Yeah.
Usually around noon the next day, you're finally ready to go again. That was their version of noon.
You got some food in you.
Yeah. The breakfast sandwich hit, the electrolytes hit. They were ready to go. And we'll get to that game, because there was a part of me after the 5 no-hit innings. I was like, all right, I'm going to see what happens here in this 6th inning. Maybe I'll just call it a night. It's their hangover game. I had a busy night last night. I was like, maybe I'll just call it a night. Thank God I didn't.
Can you imagine if you missed the 6th inning and the 9th inning?
Some
people did. Listen, when Shawnee woke up, my 10-year-old woke up, I could hear, he got his iPad out, I could hear Tom McCarthy's voice because he was watching the highlights. Because obviously he did not stay up. He's 10. But it's the first thing I heard. It was like 7:05 a.m. I started hearing Tom McCarthy. Oh, I was like, that's amazing. That ball.
Speaking of Sean's.
Yes.
How was Sean doing with the post-clinch and then another
late night, of course, went all the way to the end. So I think he rolled in around 10 or 2:35, 2:40.
Early.
Yeah, so a full hour almost, or a little over an hour earlier than the night before. I'm on that duty tonight, so I'll be you'll see me tomorrow after experiencing that.
Oh, sorry, a couple Celsiuses in your future.
I know. So anybody that knows me knows I don't drink caffeine. I don't drink coffee. I rarely drink soda. I'll have a tea. That's kind of usually what I'll have. And so I did have a Celsius once, and it just my body just doesn't know what to do with that level of caffeine. So maybe, but I might have to.
Might have to tomorrow. We'll chat tomorrow before the show to try to figure out how we can get the energy up for the show tomorrow. But looking forward to watching tonight. And we're going to get to that Phillies team, because I'll be honest with you, I've been teasing it the last couple of days, and I really was looking for a reason not to just throw caution to the wind for myself. You're going to hear later on this hour, I'm throwing caution to the wind for myself. I'm ready to get hurt again, basically, when it comes to this baseball team. And it's because it's just been tremendous since that trade deadline. We'll get into all that. But as I sit back and observe from the perch of the 2-0 football teams, which is a beautiful place to be, I'm starting to feel some type of way. And it's a little cockiness, it's a little bravado, but it's also just rooted in the way the rest of the country looks at Philadelphia right now and looks at this football team. And I want to ask you this question, if you feel that we've gotten to this point, because I think some people say, whoa, it's been one title, they've been to another Super Bowl, but let's not jump ahead of things. The Chiefs are still that team that were going for the three-peat last year, that obviously have owned the 2020s in terms of the decade that's been their decade in the NFL. But I think the Eagles have taken over that mantle of being the newest it team and that hateable national brand, the brand that everyone kind of turns against. And I saw this yesterday, and it was Jason McCourty that was on ESPN talking about comparing the Eagles' ability to find ways to win. Looks like the way the Chiefs have been able to do it for the last couple of years. And the Eagles have become the new Chiefs. And you start thinking about it. And I start going down the line. To a national audience watching on Sunday, we talked about this on Wednesday. When the Eagles find a way to win that game, I can imagine, instead of the relief that we felt and the joy of like, oh, what an exhausting, grinded out game, but they found a way to win. I can imagine the fan in the middle of nowhere America like, God,
this team again?
Eagles did it again. What the? I can just feel that energy of people being annoyed, especially with the tush push, which brings me to my next point. One of those things about being that team, that brand in football, is everyone has to find a way to say you're doing it outside the confines of the game. That you have found a way to exploit a system and you're doing it in a way that's unfair to everyone else. Exactly. Think about the number of ways you went about trying to discredit the Patriots. Think about the number of ways you've gone to discredit Patrick Mahomes for the way that he draws unsportsmanlike fouls. Like, the way you become that brand is by having something about you that everyone else envies to the point that they believe it's illegal, that they believe it should be outside the confines of the game, that you should not have that inside of football. And we have that here.
Well, and I think also they just find ways to win, and that makes it annoying for people that are not Eagles fans. It's like, oh, that team again? Oh, certainly they're not going to win that game. Oh, they turned the ball. Oh, there's no way. Or their quarterback only threw for 101. There's no way.
And that's another key factor of being that it brand in the NFL. Yeah. Everyone wants to find a way to disparage your quarterback.
Oh, there's just no way.
Everyone wants to find a way to say, well, look who he's doing it with. Look what he's got. Look what his team is. We have that here very clearly. We've seen it played out not just the last 2 weeks, the entire offseason, all of last year. Everyone wants to disparage the guy. And on top of that, one of the things that I think is so amazing that everyone hates is kind of the smugness that this team could carry about itself. You watch Nick Sirianni at halftime going after the officials. I can imagine the fan in New York like,
of course,
this guy's the worst. I hate this guy. I think.
But if he was their coach.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially what they got up in New York. I think we've watched
That's
in front of our own eyes what we've wanted our entire lives of being that team in the NFL. I think Sunday finally really clinched that ascent.
Against the Chiefs, because that was the team for the last 5, 6, 7 years. They've been that team, right? They've been the team that always find a way to win, that of course they get all the calls. Of course, they're on national TV all the time. You just can't get enough of them. Oh, Chiefs this, Chiefs that. And that was even more so because it was in the middle of America as far as like the large markets. And you're thinking, wow, the Chiefs are all over the television all the time. And now people think about that, about the Eagles, because they are on the television all the time.
It was the quintessential way that that a team that just finds a way does it.
Yes.
And the Eagles have become the team that finds a way. They've become the brand that everyone wants to take away from their success, pick it apart, say if this happened, if that happened. Because you think about the way you watched the Patriots for all those years. And it was when the Patriots would win a game. I know this because I was a full-blown hater of that entire era, that entire regime.
I still am. It just gives me the ick, that whole everything that they did.
The Patriots win a game, and you're like, well, if this, that, the other thing happened, they don't win that game.
Or they only won because.
Right. To me, that's where we are. It's a beautiful place to be. But I think I could see people having the opinion of, well, okay, let's relax. They've won one Super Bowl. They're 2-0. We see flaws. I think they've just ascended to that it team. I think they are. Right now, everyone wanted to make jokes when Laurie said the gold standard back in the way. They've kind of raised to the standard of the NFL.
I mean, when he said the gold standard, they were not the gold standard. And it was almost ironic because the gold standard, at least in the state of Pennsylvania, was on the other side of the state. Mm-hmm. When he said that, you were looking at all the Super Bowls. And one within the last, I think he said that like in 2014, like whatever, early 2010-ish. And the Steelers had just won. So it was like, how can you say you're the gold standard when you don't have a single Super Bowl? And even in your own state, you're not the gold standard. And now the script has been completely flipped, and they are the standard, not just for the way that they win games, the way the organization is run. People look at the way the organization is run and think that's what we want to do.
So I want to ask you, I want to get people's opinions here on this, because when we say this, there is a lot of projecting you do on where this can go. And it is just a Week 2 win over the Chiefs, but it's a Week 2 win in a way that team, that standard of the NFL finds a way to do it. And I'm curious for you at 610-632-0975 if you've seen enough over the last couple of years, and now obviously with the way it just seemed to find a way. Who wins with 100 passing yards in this NFL?
The Eagles.
If you believe that the Eagles have risen to be that standard of the NFL, that it team in the NFL. Because the more I watch people try and pick apart this week's win, the more I watch people try and disparage everything about the Philadelphia Eagles. It's like, yeah, they're the team that if you want to run a national show, you're going to lead the national show trying to break this thing apart.
Well, and you see it. You mentioned, obviously, McCourty on NFL Live, I guess it was. So all of those shows, NFL Live, Get Up, even like the football, the NFL Network morning shows, Good Morning Football, their top story almost always is either some kind of injury update, but two, if it's like, let's break down this, here's why the Eagles can't sustain this, which is fine. But they're the top story because they are at the forefront of everyone's minds because they look at the roster, they look at the way that they're winning and think, this is if this team figures it out as far as getting more than 101 yards of offense, watch out.
And you mentioned that when we talk about the national shows. Rich Eisen yesterday talking about this Eagles team. We're going to play it for you coming up because he uses a word that you can kind of feel. If they don't lose a game like Sunday, how do you find losses on this schedule? We'll play that audio for you from Rich Eisen coming up. And just the way this team wins, have they risen themselves to be that it team, that standard across the NFL? You get on that 610-632-0975 alongside Amy Fadul. I'm Ray Dunn. Middays, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Philadelphia is a sports city full of
When you've seen the first two games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And, again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCuba.
Yeah. Oh, Andrew's going to need a moment.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he sort of grasps things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCuba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away and off Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are 2 players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
just basking a little bit in the glory of watching the entire nation try and reckon with what the Eagles are. Because it feels like every national voice is either dedicated this week to tearing apart.
To why they shouldn't have won.
Right. And or either tear it apart or just being like, you know what, I'm throwing my hands up in the air. Congrats to the Eagles. You know, when we see them lose, then maybe we'll start having problems with them. And one of those voices that had that type of reaction to it was Rich Eisen, who basically said, yeah, I got nothing. They're invincible. This is a team that's just able to do what they want when they want. They're going to find a way to win. Take a listen to Rich Eisen talking about this Eagles team earlier in the week.
Because the Eagles have this air of, well, they certainly have an air of invincibility when it's the tush-push lineup. And it just permeates out from that. Oh, A.J. Brown can hardly do a thing. Devontae Smith is hurt. Guess what? He's going to get off the mat, and he's going to break your back. He lands on his back and then breaks the other team's back. Saquon Barkley, hold him for less than 100. He'll still score a touchdown, and so will Jalen Hurts. Defensively, they're going to make a play with some guy you've never heard of. And that'll piss you off because they have enough people you've heard of. Jaylen Carter kept the spit in his mouth. He's unstoppable. And that's the way it feels with the Eagles right now. That's the way it feels. And right now, the only team I've seen out there through the first 2 weeks that can play mistake-free football, put the pressure on Hurts, and really make a very difficult day for him occur. And the rest of this, and not make the mistakes, right now, to me, looks like the Green Bay Packers through 2 weeks.
Which we can get to that another time. The Packers are coming down the line somewhere down the season. And you know how much I love Jordan Love. I've said a number of times that one of the biggest things with that Packers team, how far they go, will be how consistent he is. I can recognize where a guy that I'm incredibly high on still needs to grow. And there's still something more you need to see out of Love. But to that point aside, you listen to him say it. And I love that Drew Makuba is some guy you never heard of. Like that's basically like to the national audience. You're like, yeah, you know, the Eagles probably lost a lot defensively last year. Like,
oh, yeah. That was the big storyline. They lost everybody on defense.
Like, they'll probably have holes in their secondary, and then you see Makuba just run that ball back. And probably, like, the non-college football audience, like NFL audience, was probably like, who's this guy? The hell is this guy running this ball back? Probably everyone out there thought it was going to be a pick six. There was a lot. It was an amazing effort to stop that from being a pick six by the offensive lineman that knocked him out of bounds. I forget who it was. But that clip embodies what is a national brand that is driving everyone else insane and has become it team across the NFL. Again, you don't stick a fork in the Chiefs and say it's all over for them because they have Mahomes, they have Reed. I understand they're 0-2, but I think they have two of the next three I think are pretty safe to put in the W column for them with the Giants and the Jaguars. Part of the reason why I didn't think they were in as desperate a spot as everyone started to paint for them. Do they probably have an uphill battle to end up with a home playoff game? Yeah, and that may hamper their chances eventually. But I think when it's all said and done, I still see them somewhere in that postseason picture. But the point being, as they try and reckon with where they are at and what they are right now, the Eagles have become that it brand and taken over that national mantle of being the team in the NFL.
And it's the team everybody talks about because everybody's interested in it for whatever reasons, positive or negative. Like you were saying, people are...
They hate us.
All over the place. Well, they shouldn't have won that game, or they can't keep winning games. Or that's fine. You could talk just like how we did with the Patriots when they were on their run. Like even last year with the Chiefs, like the Chiefs are done. They're cooked. There's no way they can get all the way back there with the manner with which they're winning. And then of course they did, but it doesn't matter. But I like that the Eagles. It's just can we as a fan base or they as a team? Are they good with that? Because it's so unusual for us to be in this spotlight.
I think the team's good with that. I'm interested, and we're going to play this audio for you coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. There was a Fox Sports back and forth. Coward had Nick Wright on his show, and they did a whole thing on A.J. Brown, the passing offense. And there's elements of being that team where the noise outside, to steal a line from Nick Saban, the rat poison is more prevalent outside of your facility trying to trip you up, and I think that's going to be a loud thing for them. They also have, remember, in-season Hard Knocks. It's coming.
I know. I can't wait.
I was anti that for the team purposes, pro that for our purposes.
Right, exactly.
I would prefer not having everyone like, oh, there's a camera around here. Where's the camera?
There's so many cameras there anyway. I don't know that you'll really notice it.
I guess.
I mean, they literally have cameras constantly there between social media and the actual cameras.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess if you're putting on an act for the cameras, you're already doing it
Right?
24/7.
You already get,
So
they see the tiny mic interviews like this. They're always there.
yeah, all right, fine. You talk me in.
There you go. I'm just trying to say like it's not as.
I don't
it's
want to
not-
watch more
Yeah.
stuff, Amy.
It's not. I don't think it's as extreme as like, full on camera crews constantly.
They should focus on football.
Concentrate.
They should focus on what's happening on the field, not what's happening on TikTok.
Yeah. Sorry.
Give me a break.
Sorry. Apologies.
But to that end, like there is the idea of the outside noise being that team. But given what we know about the culture in that room, I don't necessarily care to what it could do to impact them. I think they have already seen it impact them before, and I think they've gotten past it.
Yeah, and I think also, I know we harken back a lot to 2023, for good or for bad, the 10-1 start, and then they know what it looks like when things start to kind of erode.
Right.
And I think they can recognize that. I think that they are in such a solid locker room that they're good with that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that you would make this move if this was. There's no way in 2024 you would have done it, given the way that 2023 ended. There's just no way.
But they do have a little bit of this air of invincibility. Like, it's incredible. We spent Monday breaking down this offense, and you get back, you get home from the show, you're like, yeah, they're 2-0. And what team wins back-to-back weeks with only two passing plays over 10 yards? Who wins like that?
I think I saw there was a next-gen stat about how Nick Sirianni's challenge flag throw was
Furthest throw of the season? Yeah. It's absurd. Who wins like that? Only the team in the NFL that has ascended to the top finds a way to win back-to-back weeks like that. That's the impressive thing. But also, a part of this ascension is the hatred.
Yes.
The hatred of a number of things with the Eagles. But one thing this week,
Our
from a
joy.
national perspective, has been the Tush push.
Oh, my gosh.
And today, I'm going to play it for you.
It's so great.
Johnny, if you're still out there, way to go after him. Way to have a back and forth on this one. Adam Schefter was on for his weekly hit with the morning show, and it produced some great radio.
That's good stuff.
We'll play it for you coming up. Kincade versus Schefter. Sound
Who
the
you got?
bells. We'll play it for you coming up. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. Middays on 97.5, The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies came back once again to beat the LA Dodgers last night 9-6 as they took the series and the season series against LA. Rafael Marchand hit a 3-run home run in the top of the ninth inning to put the Phillies up, and Johan Duran came in to close the door. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo is on the mound and first pitch is set for 10-10. During the Chiefs game, rookie safety Andrew Makuba made the play of the game with his red zone interception, which bounced off the hands of Travis Kelce. And defensive coordinator Vic Fangio spoke to the media yesterday about the rookie's play during the game.
Yeah, he had some really nice plays. The two you're alluding to, obviously. Did a good job when we brought him on the one pressure. I thought he had some really, really nice plays, and then some other ones that we got to eliminate, too.
Last night, the Union fell to Nashville SC 3-1 in the U.S. Open Cup. They will be back in action on Saturday at 2:30 to face the New England Revolution. This update is brought to you by Bet365. Football is back. Get ready for the season at Bet365. When it comes to sportsbooks, Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Welcome back into the Midday Show. I'm Ray Dunn, hanging out with Amy Padul here on 97.5 The Fanatic, looking at the invincible Eagles. I'm not just saying that me. That's Rich Eisen's words. I'm just the one parroting what he had to say about the Eagles and look at them as the national brand that they are, because they have become the it team. They've taken over the mantle as the team in the NFL that nationally has the most intrigue and probably the most people that want to see it fail. I think a lot of people enjoyed the Chiefs' downfall in that Super Bowl, but they might not enjoy it given the fact of what it gave Philadelphia. And I think now it's quickly turned, especially taking that Week 2 game over the Chiefs, where it's now like, all right, all we could do to take out Philadelphia is what's important.
That's it. It was just like they traded one, with the national scene. It's like we traded one evil for another. Like, oh, wait, what?
Basically,
but we're lovely. You should join us.
What happened was Travis Kelce dropped the most hated title in the NFL into the hands of Drew Makuba in that game. Basically what happened there. He had it right there, and it was like, oh, these Chiefs always find a way. And instead, ball falls out of his hand, falls into Makuba's hands, and now the Eagles get to carry that title for the rest of the way. They've become the most hateable brand nationally in the NFL because they are the it team nationally. It's something that comes with being the NFL's it team. You just have to kind of take that at 31 other franchises. Fan bases despise you, and every single analyst will be on a path to try and figure out why you shouldn't, why you couldn't, and why you won't.
Well, and that's listen, we've talked about why it's not sustainable because, and if you listen to Kevin Patullo speak yesterday, there's no surprise. Like every other question was like, hey, it'd be fun throwing the ball further. And he's like, yeah, I know. It would be fun. We're going to try to do that more. We're working on it. We've got a plan. It doesn't always work. So there's obviously different nuances to those questions. But I think of the, say, 15 questions, 9 of them were all about that. There was maybe one about Saquon running all over the Rams last year. But, yeah, I mean, it's a fair thing. But because everybody is now keying on the Eagles, they're keying on, one, because of the Super Bowl champs. That's how it is. And then 2, you're 2-0. There's only, a handful of teams right now, 9 teams that are 2-0, I think, whatever it is. And so it's like, all right, how are they doing this? And then you look at it, well, they can't keep doing that. We're going to have to keep watching this team? That's right. You're going to have to keep watching this team win.
And let's find a way that they are exploiting the rules and using it to their own advantage.
With the tush push. We heard from Dean Blandino. We heard from Tom Brady. We heard from, of course, Adam Schefter.
Yes, we did. Adam Schefter went on Get Up Monday and said that the game between the Eagles and Chiefs was lost in March for the Chiefs. Today, he came on our airwaves, and if you missed it this morning...
Oh, you missed a doozy.
John Kincade, Adam Schefter, in the ring, battling out over the tush push. Take a listen.
You know when that game was lost? The game was lost when Travis Kelce dropped a pass that became an interception that gave the Eagles the ball. The game was lost when Andy Reid made the decision to go for it on 4th and 1 from his own 36 that gave the Eagles a field goal, a gimme field goal in the third quarter. The game was lost when Harrison Butker missed a field goal that would have been a 3-point. So that's when the game was lost.
Okay, so John, why the sensitivity then?
Because you just said it was a fact that the Eagles lost. You said the game was won on Get Up. You said the game was won because of the tush push. That was not fact, and you just said it was fact again. It wasn't won because of the tush push.
It was one of the factors involved in that game.
You didn't say that.
Stop that play. Oh, okay. Well, you know what, John? I'm not going to go into Get Up when I got 20 seconds. Well, they did this and they did that and they did this.
Well, weren't they bigger? Okay, were they bigger factors or were they less factors? Because I think Travis Kelce and that interception was a bigger factor in the Chiefs losing than the tush push. Andy Reid twice going out of character was a bigger decision. Butker missing a field goal was a bigger than the tush push, which accounted for 5 yards in the game.
John, fine. What does that have to do with my opinion on the tush push? Again, people are mistaken. So I'm not giving the Eagles flowers for making other plays? Okay, good. They did make those plays. Again, bravo. Excellent. They won the game. Great job. Okay, but people feel cheated that I didn't salute them for stopping them on 4th and 1 or coming up with a big pick. I'm just talking about the tush push and the ire it's raised across the league and across the country. People all worked up. I've never been one that's been worked up about it or against the play.
Decision to Kincade.
Yeah, I mean, like Schefter, I get what Schefter's saying, but the way he worded it, it wasn't like he didn't say one of like he did with John just then. He said the reason the Chiefs lost the game is because the tush push is a play. That's literally what he said.
Oh man,
I was like, oh, one of them. Well, it was one of. I only had 20 seconds. Okay, I mean, you could have said just those couple of words. One of the reasons, and
well,
then it would have been.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
He was so set on it was a fact that was the only reason that happened.
It was so great. John really let him have it.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you so sensitive? Why are you so sensitive? Why are you so sensitive? I don't know. It was amazing.
It was so good. On Monday when we saw that audio, we played it.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We played it, and I said I just needed something from the Morning Boys coming on Wednesday.
And they were like, we're prepared.
I saw Kincade tweeting that he was ready for it. I was all lined up to hear it. I've never been so happy to be stuck in traffic. My commute today sucked. I don't know if everyone decided after the
It was a little crazy today.
It's been terrible.
Yeah, it was
a
little crazy. But actually,
atrocious.
The whole week, yeah.
I live in the city. I'm trying to get to Ballackinwood. I don't take the highway. I've been perfectly fine to do this for the 2 years I've done this shift. The last 2 weeks have been the worst it's ever been.
Very strange.
But I have never been so thrilled to be stuck in traffic listening to those two battle it out.
He's like, well, what's it? I was like, oh, God. And then when, you could just see the backpedaling, he's trying to, and he's fair. It was a fair assessment of what Adam Schefter said.
And credit to Schefter. You say something on television, you come on these airwaves, and you talk about it.
Yes.
There are plenty of people in this industry that will say something and be like, well, I don't do local radio.
Yeah.
You
I'm
said
not backing it up.
You got to defend it. And Kincade going after him. I love it. All right. Got into a lot of Eagles early on here. The Phillies did win another game last night in just a beautiful way. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I can hear Kevin Cooney laughing somewhere at me. I've hit the point. I've hit the point of irrationality. I've lost it. This team is just too fun. This team's got me just buying all the way back in.
I love it.
They've got me losing my mind over them. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, about the moment where I think the pressure released on August 1st after the deadline. They've just got the feel of them. We're going to get into it coming up. Another win last night for the Phillies.
I can't believe I just heard you say that.
They just got the feel of
them. You really are all the way back.
I'm just, it's like, how? How do they keep doing this? And at some point, you have to just
they have played the Dodgers very well.
They have.
Which is great, and I love that.
We'll go through it coming up.
Okay.
Since August 1st, what they've been able to do with this group and just how impressive it is. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Tunn. Take you through middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
How much were you shocked or maybe surprised by how Fangio attacked the Chiefs defensively and how Spagnuolo attacked the Eagles?
I was really impressed and taken aback a little bit by how Vic Fangio approached that game, because he didn't send a single blitz in Super Bowl 59, and I believe according to True Media there was 11 blitzes on Sunday, so they were a lot more aggressive than they have been traditionally. And I think when you know that Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a lot of optionality in terms of the passing game, that's where you're able to sell out and be a little bit more confident in that, and then let your players rally to the football and clean up. They also had really good rush discipline in the second half, especially because early on, Patrick Mahomes, their primary source of offense was him picking up yards with his legs. And then for Spagnuolo, just aggressive. I thought that his defense really pinned their ears back and got after the Eagles quite a bit. And from a pass blocking perspective, I thought there were moments that the Eagles' offensive line gave him a lot of time. There were 4 or 5 seconds that Jalen Hurts was standing back there. But then there were other moments where I thought that the Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo dialed it up correctly. But, yeah, it was a good chess match.
Did you feel the absence of Dallas Goedert yesterday?
Definitely. Absolutely. I mean, on the first play of the game, Leo Chenal, the linebacker for Kansas City, gets off the edge. Calcaterra whiffs on the block. He doesn't get a hand on him and gets to Jalen Hurts. And, I mean, Kylan Granson, I didn't think that – he's not an inline blocker. That's really not what he's here to do. But he saw that the Eagles played a lot of 12 personnel, and then Cameron Latu was in for about 6 plays. He was way more effective in that area. But you definitely felt the impact from Dallas Goedert, especially as a blocker, but also in the early stages of that game where I thought the Eagles were trying to force some things down the field and not necessarily take what was being given to them. That's where those short dump-offs, those intermediate completions to Dallas Goedert really settles that offense in and gets them headed in the right direction.
I want to make sure we get the people in here because sometimes, when I'm just like jumping for joy and like enjoying my day sometimes, and I am on coffee number 2 of the morning. Thank you, Amy Fidul. I appreciate that. Sometimes with that energy, I realize I get caught up in like, I have so much I want to tell you about. I'm like an excitable kid, really, when it comes down to it.
I've got all this. I've got all these pieces of paper with all these ideas on them.
Yeah, I'm like the kid when the parent comes home from work. Did you want to know about my day? Do you want to know what it? And sometimes I find that energy, and I'm like, wait a second, I do want to talk with the people here. So what do we got on the text line, Austin Jones?
Yeah, so first text of the day. Good morning, guys. I just left the house to go to work, and I had ESPN on the show Get Up at 8 a.m. It's ridiculous to hear Greenberg crying, the whole panel crying about the tush push, and still how it's so awful in their eyes. They don't watch football to see the play. Then they talked about how we are getting more of an advantage because our offensive linemen are leaving early off the ball, and the refs aren't calling it, so now we're cheating to win. It kills me to hear these people cry like babies. Well, nobody's complaining. Well, nobody's complaining when the defense lines up in the neutral zone on that play or they're mimicking Jalen Hurts' snap count.
Yeah, I saw a picture down the line of 3 Chiefs clearly in the neutral zone.
There was one time where they punched at the football as it's about to be snapped.
Yeah.
That's a movement into the neutral zone.
It's crazy.
But it is funny that you can go through an entire offseason where we're talking about banning the tush push, and apparently the officials never went back and looked at any tape or talked about how they were going to officiate it the following season. Because, it's so tough. I can't believe they're doing this. I can't believe they're doing that. It's so brutal. It's so brutal. I don't know, man. How many months did you have to figure it out? If they're doing something illegal, you know what you have? It's a little yellow piece of laundry. You're allowed to throw that if you think something illegal is happening. That's your prerogative. You're the official. So if you don't like it, officiate. Do your job.
And then we heard from Blandino during the game broadcast, and he was talking about, and then Schefter obviously mentioned it too, how the referees don't know how to officiate this. They don't know how to call it. And you and I pointed out, it's not like this is a brand new play that they invented this year.
Wow, look at that. The tush push, this new phenomenon.
It's been litigated over and over again. We've seen it for years. You've seen it for, honestly, for the better part of decades in some way, shape, or form. But obviously the iteration of the Eagles you've seen for
this is
7
year
years?
What with Sirianni at this point?
Well, he ran up. It's been run before that.
Indy,
That's the thing. So it's like it's been a long time, but certainly here successfully, you're looking at 5 years of it, and yet they're like, the referees don't know how to call it. Well, that's all. At some point, referees learn how to call it. That's on you.
And at this point, last year I expected it to be banned. This point I expect it to be banned, but it's still here for this year, so they're going to have to figure it out. What else we got?
Yeah, so this is Mark from Lehigh Valley. Tired of all the tush-push whiners. Too bad. We're good at it. How about we ban field goal attempts over 65 yards? Kickers like Aubrey and Dallas fans will say, no way, only a few are good at that type of play.
That's fair. I mean,
Well, the
Auburn's
Bills
pretty
wanted to
great.
ban it, and they've run it.
Yeah, well, then they're
No.
hypocrites, and I have no time for hypocrites. Okay, that's my official take on the Bills. I will say, Bills Mafia would love to see a Super Bowl Eagles-Bills for the tailgate for the
gosh.
fan collision, but I think I'm now in on that Super Bowl strictly because I would have to deal with the hypocrites, and for that we would have to humble the hypocrites. Week 17, I will see you. I don't think that game's actually going to matter for the Bills. I think
No.
they might just run through everything in the AFC and end up having things locked up. Any more we got on the are we all tush push related? Are all people upset about tush push today?
Yeah, for the most part. I'll leave you with one last good one. You either die a hero or long enough to see yourself become the villain. The 2025 Eagles. That's
I like
from
that.
Jay.
I think that's honestly where we're at, where the Eagles were the thing that stopped the annoying three-peat, but
Yeah.
they're now the villain because they stopped that and because they beat the Chiefs in week 2.
Exactly.
And
that's why.
they're the new it team.
Yeah.
Like it's all right. You know, it's
you beat the previous it team.
yeah. You know the Toy Story meme where it's like, I don't want to play with you anymore. And it's
Throw
tossing
it in
Woody to the
yeah.
side because he got the new Buzz Lightyear.
Right.
The Eagles are Buzz Lightyear. And the Chiefs are Woody. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to play with you anymore. We're done
Still
with
a
this.
fun toy though that Andy
Yeah.
comes back to.
Right. Eventually. And
Right.
I think we
He
will
learns
come
his
back
lesson.
nationally to talking about
Correct.
the Chiefs. I think that's going to
Well,
be
right now they're talking about their
downfall.
demise.
Yeah, but I think come January, if we're not talking about, I would be surprised if we're not talking about the Chiefs come January. Very surprised. They will be if they don't make the playoffs, but I mean,
Yes.
we're not talking about them playing a postseason
I would think
game.
that yeah.
That team's going to
Again.
play some postseason games.
How desperate is that Chief? The Giants have to be thinking like, wait, what's happening?
Deflating loss for the Giants.
Right? They finally thought they were gonna like get a look at us. We're hanging with now you're getting an 0-2 angry Chiefs team rolling in for their
If you thought Dak could carve up your defense.
wait, do you see this guy?
All right. Now, a team that's going to be playing the postseason, your Philadelphia Phillies. Last night, I will say this. This is my official take on the matter. I appreciate, again, the lack of DMs and the lack of tweets at me to talk about my boy when Robertson serves that one. Now, listen. That ball was moving inside on the hands on Shohei Ohtani. He's incredible.
It's Shohei Ohtani.
Like, I don't know what more you want from me. Now, after that, the fact that they end up losing the lead, we can start talking about
Right.
that. Here's what I'll say. I'm a big Thompson guy. Rob Thompson putting a 40-year-old man that spent the entire night binge drinking the night before back out there on the mound.
Speaking
That's
of-
managerial malpractice.
no, it was perfect.
No.
There was resilience.
No shot. No 40-year-old
Man
man
did-
that was drinking like
He did
that
a
should
great-
be put in a
he had
high-leverage
very
spot and work the
perfect,
next day.
He had a very perfect funnel, though. Did
Oh,
you
he
see?
did? No. He was
Great form.
No, well, I mean, I'm sure he was free for summer for the first time in his life.
That's true.
Memorial Day weekend for David Robertson was probably like an experience. I would love to know,
He's like, what is all this?
it's like, wait a second, we could grill and I could drink beer and I don't have to go to the mound tomorrow? I don't have to work out?
See, Topper made some really good moves though. Like he could
Oh,
have,
yeah.
he could have pinch hit.
I say that with, a little bit of tongue in cheek there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, if you want my official statement
Yeah,
on
after that.
Robertson pitching, a 40-year-old man who was binge drinking the night before should not be put back out there on the mound. All right, that's what I'm saying. Let's save our 40-year-old men that are drinking a ton of beers the night before having to go out there and face Shohei Ohtani. Seemed like a little much for Robertson, but they end up winning the game anyways, which is the incredible part of this whole thing. They get no hit through 5 innings. You're like, oh, hangover games happen. And I was tweeting about how a hangover no hitter is not a real no hitter. Like you can't count that one. There's an asterisk to it. And then in the 6th inning, they take the lead and they have a beautiful inning. Then they give the lead back up, and then Rafael Marchand has the moment. And everyone's had a moment. And this Phillies team, over the last month, in Milwaukee, go down 5-1, win 10-8. The Mets, they go down 4-0, win the game 6-4. Royals, there's a game they go down 3-0, win the game 8-6. Last 2 Dodgers games, they've been back and forth winning it. Since August 1st, they've taken 2 of 3 from the Tigers. They've swept Texas. They've swept Seattle. They took 2 of 3 from the Brewers. They swept the Mets in a 4-game series. They took 2 of 3 over Kansas City. And they've already got 2 wins and a series in hand with the Dodgers, in a series where the Dodgers were trying to play for a bye.
Yeah.
Like they needed
Yeah, it's
at
not like
least
the Dodgers
2
aren't playing people.
to make it interesting. They
Nope.
really need all three to try and make it
Buried them.
interesting for the second seed, and you buried them. It's hard to not. It's
It is.
hard to
It is.
suspend belief.
I started seeing on my timeline a couple of, so we talked about this at work, like what's the new song? Because Stubbs is back.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to discern what we're listening to because I know he's got a new mix in there. We'll find out.
I've been in touch.
Okay, so there is. I know there's a new mix.
I've been in
heard,
touch.
I've heard one song, but I haven't heard like the official anthem. I feel like we'll hear it soon. now that
Yes,
Stubbs is back.
I'm working on getting some inside information.
But in that same vein, my timeline people started posting like, "Is it time?" And it was just like a screenshot of like, the Tiesto remix.
Yep.
And I was like, it might be. I had that song on one of my mixes that I play.
Really?
Yes, and it just comes up every now and again. And there's a lot of times where during the summer I would just immediately fast forward. I was like, I can't. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But I will say that the last couple times, it plays.
They are 30-14 since August 1st. There was just the release of the pressure once they got the bullpen was stabilized, the outfield was stabilized, they figured out their roles, and they're playing like a team right now that owes nothing to anyone. Like that they are just going to do whatever it is they want, night in and night out. It's a scary thing to watch from I am totally bought all the way back in.
Well, it's a scary thing to watch because I remember the beginning of last season where they stumbled a little bit out of the gates and then they really righted the ship and they were doing the same thing in like June and early July. They were beating these teams because they were coming back. They were down 2-0, 3-1. And I remember Kyle Schwarber saying, we have that belief. We always think we're going to win the game. And they have to have that belief right now. So it's harder for us to turn the switch, but it's because in our mind, we're just like, I don't want to be let down again.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm throwing caution to the wind.
I'm with you. But I was never was never where you were.
I was down bad.
You were.
And that Turner news was really what crushed me in Miami. When I'm on my way to the airport coming home from the weekend I spent down in South Carolina for family weekend for my sister and all that, I was in the car and I was like, Turner. She's like, what? She's like, I'm like, Turner. It's hamstring.
Was.
And now Turner's injury has become very personal to me. We're going to get to that coming up because we got some news the day of the clinch that we didn't really react to yesterday with Rob Thompson talking about when the timetable could be for Trey Turner. So we'll get to that. Also, why this hamstring injury for him is now personal to me.
For you.
Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn, taking through middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies came back once again to beat the LA Dodgers last night 9-6 as they took the series and the season series against LA. Rafael Marchand hit a 3-run home run in the top of the ninth inning to put the Phillies up, and Johan Duran came in to close the door. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo is on the mound and first pitch is set for 10-10. During the Chiefs game, rookie safety Drew Makuba made the play of the game where his red zone interception bounced off the hands of Travis Kelce, and defensive coordinator Vic Fangio spoke to the media yesterday about the play of the rookie.
Yeah, he had some really nice plays. The two you're alluding to, obviously. Did a good job when we brought him on the one pressure. I thought he had some really, really nice plays, and then some other ones that we got to eliminate, too.
Last night, the Union fell to Nashville SC in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal. They will be back in action on Saturday at 2:30 to face the New England Revolution. This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at the local Mercedes-Benz dealer today. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
But when you have so many issues at your skill positions, and when you have a dominant defense on the other side of the ball, because Spitgate didn't happen this week, Jaylen Carter was on the field, which you saw how that benefited other guys on the defensive line, benefited the linebackers yesterday. The Philadelphia Eagles are the better team than the Kansas City Chiefs. You saw it 7 months ago in Super Bowl 59, and you saw it yesterday when they went to Arrowhead, which is a tough place to play and start the season 2-0.
It's September. Stacking a win against the reigning AFC champion, who is already 0-1 in a pretty desperate spot to get themselves a victory on the road in Arrowhead in an environment like that is impressive. It's an impressive win for the Eagles. That's the headline. One of the side stories here is the sustainability of this offense. It's sustainable in September. It's sustainable probably somewhere into October, where you're able to make this work. My biggest issue, and a lot of people talk about the passing game, and that's justifiable to have that conversation. Even last year when the passing game wasn't going great, you were able to generate explosive plays in the running game like nobody's business.
Right.
That's why the season that Saquon had was as impressive as it was. The 2,000 yards, yes, obviously that's impressive, but the number of 70-yard runs that allowed that season to happen, the number of just big plays, here's a 50-yard run from Saquon that he's going to break off, and I think we all expect that to happen at some point. But without those explosive plays, that's the part of this that isn't sustainable and that you can't win, again, come January without that. Right now in September, it's totally acceptable. You win a game, you don't look very good offensively, it's fine. You got plenty of time. You got a first-time play caller against Spags.
Right.
That's a way you can draw this up. You say acceptable, impressive, in terms of the fact that you're able to win that game on the road against that caliber of opponent. But come January, without explosive plays, that's not a sustainable form of offense. 5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn, taking you through the midday show here. And we're talking about just the joy of this Phillies team.
Joy.
And have you let yourself just believe?
I hope so. See, I remember I was on with Andrew Salciunas. It was early. No, I think it was like the middle of August.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I think the Mets are maybe.
No, it definitely was early because right after the trade deadline.
Yes,
the
it was like maybe
post-trade
like
deadline
August
for him
2nd.
was like.
He was like,
look at all they did.
The Mets did everything. The Mets are going to win the division, and the Padres are the team that did the most.
Well, yeah, Preller's a madman.
Well,
Coming up later in the show.
They did do the most.
Yeah, they did do the most. Later in the show, there's audio from a John Boy interview. They have Boone on every I think it's every week. I don't sorry, I don't live in the Yankees ecosystem. I just know that I most of the time will see a clip come from Boone and John Boy talking about the Yankees, believe it or not. And it doesn't have anything to do with the Yankees, but they're talking about the end of the season if the juice is still there baseball-wise. And I want to get into that conversation coming up later on the show. But there was that sentiment after the trade deadline. You were a half game separated the Phillies and Mets. You won August 1st, took that lead. You lost August 2nd. Then August 3rd, you take the lead back. And then from there, you haven't looked back. And you've been able to take control of this division, thanks in part because the Mets are doing some Mets things. But you've been able to take control. And even going back to what you're talking about with Andrew and the way he felt then.
He wasn't alone.
No. Like, Now, of course, the Mullins trade was always going to be a mistake. If I could victory lap one thing, anyone that wants Cedric Mullins, I had said when Felix Bautista was healthy, I was like, if they do a package deal, I actually might be not interested in that because Mullins is not.
From me saying that I watched Cedric Mullins too much, and I thought, no.
Well, you take the trip down there every year. You know.
I see that. I go see the Orioles game every year.
Yeah.
It's a great stadium.
I once dated an Orioles fan. I was a part of that ecosystem there for a little while, and
not a lot of those
Mullins
fans out there.
I had diehard family in terms of Orioles fans.
Well done.
So went down to Camden Yards with them, And Mullins was never my favorite of the Orioles.
Lackluster.
They just not wasn't worth trading for.
Yeah, it's just been. You should be able to feel the joy and experience the joy. Still have a little bit of like, I'm excited, but the folks that were, and I don't think that they're still out there, but there was a large contingent of wake me up in October type of vibe. I feel like you're missing out because the one thing that in years past where there's been that little trepidation, it's because there was a September dip. You're not having that dip. I mean, you just gave us incredible stats.
Well, last year this time you're like, oh man, they're
leaking oil. Well, actually, since the All-Star
Flip the
break
switch.
last year had really like leaked.
It was after they swept the Dodgers the last
That was
time.
it. And it was like, oh gosh, that was the high point. And now each series is going to be a high point. I mean, honestly, the sweep of the Mets there's hardly anything as satisfying. So just a little insight, because I know we've talked about it. You plan for like the clinching scenarios, right, for the post-game show and whatever else, and we have these meetings and everybody's talking about it. It's probably happening. Everybody thought it was happening next week, like the 23rd at home. That's great, good times. That's when you thought it was going to happen in next week. Like, what's happening? It happened Monday.
You took 4 from the Mets. You had a chance to do it at home, in that homestand.
Yes,
which was
incredible.
absurd.
Like beyond a week ahead of time. It mathematically where you've been tracking.
Yeah, and a little inside TV. You guys are trying to figure out how you're going to do
Right
Sunday
there, so
with
we're
the
sitting
Eagles,
there, the Eagles,
Phillies.
where people are staying over, and where are we going? How people are like roving. It's just, it's the best kind of joy that you're planning for stuff like that so early. It's the best kind of joy.
It is. It really was. And Chris in Flourtown, once again at 610-632-0975 on the Bills. Chris, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Good morning. Good morning, Amy, Mr. Dunn. How are you guys?
Good
Doing
morning, Chris.
fantastic.
Good?
What you got for us?
What happened there? You there, guys?
Yeah, we're
We're
here.
You there?
Can you hear
All right,
me?
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, here, I want to give you, I think this is a fairy tale,
Ooh.
what's
Okay.
going on. I think this is a fairy tale. And it's going to come true because this is the time. They got the one guy, Kapler, from the north, the first Wiseman. Now they make a great move to pick up 2 of his teammates that were winners, too. They bring him in. His whole game changes. Now he's hitting, he's doing everything. You made him happy. Now you got the other part, right? All these guys are going to leave at the end of this year. They've been together loving each other for 4 or 5 years now. They're going to play their hearts out. So that's number 2, right? All that's coming together with the other players from the minors and Topsicle and all the other things. It's perfectly ready for them. Now I'm going to tell you who they're going to play. They're going to play the Blue Jays because the Blue Jays are hot. So you could write a book about this team at the end of the year when they win the World Series.
It sounds like you're authoring that book right now.
Yeah, kind of. That's for you guys, for Amy to write.
Okay.
All right, Amy Fadul, the author. I like the sound of that.
It's the fairy tale. It's the fairy tale of the 3 wise men that came from the North Star, from Minnesota. Right?
It was a fairy tale, and I feel like there was a little bit of extra, like a Christmas vibe in there.
There's a
we had like a
strong
wise
biblical.
man, and then with a star. But listen, whatever. At the end of the day, he said it was all going to come true, so that's great.
So he's got the 3 wise men that came from Minnesota: Kepler, Duran, and Bader, to join the Philadelphia crew that had been together for a long time.
Okay.
And I
I'm
think he
trucking
sees
along.
them all at the parade, kind of like the coming-of-age high school movie,
Okay.
where, like, after this, Schwarber went on to be a Red. JT Realmuto went on to be a...
See, now you're giving us the Phillies yearbook.
Yeah. Which, Phillies yearbook, by the way, I think right now the turning point is the Duran entrance August 1st.
Is that the Friday night one?
That Friday night one where it
Yeah.
all happens.
That's
I
when
think
we're all
that's
like,
I think that's the moment in the yearbook where they're like, and then things like
and then this happened.
yeah. Phillies were a good team for a while,
But then,
but the energy was infused. He's got the book written. I didn't know that you were an author though, Amy Fadul.
yes, apparently I've the outline now that Chris gave me, so I'm all set there. And now I just have
Can
to.
I get a signed copy?
I have to flesh it out now.
Can I get a
I know
signed
there
copy?
was a star, and I know there was a wise man.
He sounded like a wise man right there. He's got the story for the Phillies written. They're playing the Blue Jays. I can't wait though if that were to come to fruition. Like Chris, call back. Like I want to
Exactly
be
when
able
it
to.
does.
I want you to take your victory lap for that. But I Temple University Press. I know a couple people. We get you signed
There you
up
go.
for a book
All
deal.
right, now I have the outline. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, a lot of
I'll give him
radio
a little
people get book
dedication.
deals. I feel like you could make that happen. I feel like you could make
No
that.
one wants to read a book that I wrote.
I do. Can I get a signed copy?
Sure.
To that guy I worked with once.
Here you go. Hello.
Who?
Who? Hello. Was it Ray? That doesn't sound right.
Ray. I don't remember working with Ray. Speaking of me,
Speaking of you,
Trey Turner and the return to the lineup, potentially before the postseason. Rob Thompson was asked ahead of Monday's game about the fact, obviously, Turner wasn't out there in L.A., and what the timetable looked like. Here was the quick back and forth with reporters from Thompson.
At this point, you feel like, without putting a timeline, you think Trey can get back for some regular season games?
We're hoping. Yeah, we're hoping. Said he feels really good. So.
He feels really good.
feels really good.
And they're hoping.
And that timeline, obviously, it was very questionable for
Right.
any point in the regular season. You were thinking, get the bye. Maybe he's like working his way back during the last week of the season. You have the bye, and then he's maybe ready to go at some point in the NLDS. How much better would it be if he gets a little bit of playing time towards the end of the season, and then he is absolutely ready to go for the DS?
I'm a scared little you-know-what when it comes to injuries like this. And I'm okay if I don't see him again in the regular season. I'll be honest with you. If they think it's worth his while to go out there against Minnesota that last weekend of the season, tip the cap.
Yep.
And figure it out. Maybe he's got a batting title to win that they want to make sure that he locks up. And maybe, the hits leader in the National League, all that in the last weekend. Again, I don't think you should play him for either of those things. But if they think it's beneficial for him to go out there health-wise and just test it out, get out there for a game, okay, fine. Go ahead and do it. It just scares me.
Yeah.
The timeline, how quickly he would be back with that. I was
Well,
really rooting for the bye.
It's a grade 1 strain.
Yes,
Very important.
which is very important because this brings me to my own personal life.
There you go. That's a segue, everyone.
Yeah, I might be washed. I think that we have gotten to that point. I know I took a lot of flack, and I don't know how many of you out there. I've referenced this podcast a number of times, a Philly special podcast on the Ringers Network with Shil Kapadia and Cliff Augustine, who's the producer. Cliff is a good buddy of mine, and I actually played his team in a softball championship on Monday night, in which Cliff's team ended up winning by a run. I'm hurt over it, but I also was literally hurt. He wanted me to address on the air whether or not I was washed, and I have a bad feeling that I'm going to be ripped in that podcast for being washed. Last inning of that game, grounded into what could have been a double play. Legged it out to first to make sure it wasn't a double play. I took that long extension with the left foot to try and get to first base and beat out that throw.
Really extend it out?
Yeah, I really extended to get to first, make sure I did not ground into a double play and instead only had a fielder's choice there.
We all know
and
what
as soon as my foot hit the bag, I felt the hamstring grab. And I hobbled down the line. My team's like, you all right? You all right? I'm stubborn as you know what. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm not coming out of the last thing in the game for a hamstring thing. We went, obviously, as a team afterwards to, celebrate that we had a nice season. We all enjoy hanging out with one another. I hobbled home.
Oh, no.
I was, in legitimate pain to the point where, it's been a rotation of...
Did you maybe think about going to see a medical professional?
No, absolutely not.
Why would you?
No. Listen, I'm going to tough this one out. But, yeah, if you see me walking around here with a little bit of a limp going on...
Or you can, lean into it, and it's just like a swagger walk.
It's not. There's nothing
painful.
cool about a 25-year-old walking around like he's 25 years older than he is. I mean, I am in...
Is this it for you?
No, absolutely not. We were actually debating signing up for a league that started tonight, and I was like, I will be batting leadoff and available for that. I'll be in the outfield for that if we do it. Because I'm not going to be the guy that misses time.
Man, if you don't go on the 10-day IL...
Nope.
Right.
Trey Turner, though, said that he was dehydrated and it happened running out to first. I myself was also a little dehydrated and happened to run out to first. So to see that Trey Turner has... No. It was a Monday night. I stayed in Sunday for the game. We talked about this. I was on my best behavior once Sunday morning hit all the way through the rest of the week so far. I've been really good.
Okay.
I did have a little bit of that moment. So I feel a kinship to Trey Turner right now that we both suffered the same injury, and he right now has had his timetable moved up. It makes me feel like I'm going to be able to get back because obviously we're both very similar level of athlete.
Yeah, similar athletic style, similar baseball / softball style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're more of
They
a home
moved me
run
to the.
hitter, though.
Well, yeah. I've more unlocked a little bit of power.
Yeah, so there you go.
And they already moved me to the outfield.
Well, then that's obviously the next move here.
All right, coming up, back to the Eagles conversation.
People at home are like, what is
People are like, what are you
happening right now?
doing right now? Back to the Eagles
Not right.
conversation. Nationally, the perception that's changed on them, they've become the it team in the NFL, and something about their passing game that I heard yesterday, a little back and forth that I want to get into because A.J. Brown's name is all out there right now. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn, taking you through middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia Eagles defense was great. How much of an impact from week 1 to week 2 was just having Jaylen Carter back on the field?
Yeah, man, I think you can see the impact that he made right off the bat, just opening things up. I thought Jordan Davis, by the way, had another really strong outing, especially defending the run. It was a defense that you saw swarm to the football, and Nolan Smith, really physical and violent at the point of attack. It just seemed like with Jaylen Carter there, his impact really reflected through all three levels of the defense. And I really did think that Vic Fangio did a nice job adjusting and playing the Eagles playing that defense a little bit differently in the second half, because Patrick Mahomes looked like he was reeling for the third and fourth quarter.
Did we watch the game that will get the Tush Push banned?
Eventually. I think it will eventually, and they may refer to this game as the source of it.
I mean, we got Dean Blandino giving his opinion during his analysis of the play, talking about how I'm done with the Tush Push, and I'm just going to guess that sentiment's going to start
That helps
to
a lot.
spread.
Yeah, that could help a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, it feels inevitable anyway, but certainly, I came away with the same takeaway as you, Andrew. It feels like this is going to be the game that they refer back to and try to get some legs underneath it to get rid of it.
One quick thing. It was pointed out to me that Rich McKay and the Rules Committee, they rarely take up a vote on a rule 2 years in a row when it's defeated in a year. That has not been common. So that's just something to look into. They rarely take up, when a vote comes and a vote is negative, they rarely take up the same vote the next year. So that's the only thing that could potentially save it. But I think it's done. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think there's going to be enough teams, to your
Correct.
point, John, that they're going to have to try to address it.
I want to tell you a little bit about our Fanatic Deal of the Week. Very excited about this. But anytime there is brewing that is added to the end of one of our Deal of the Weeks, it tends to get me just a little bit more excited. I know that we're trying to play I'm playing the exact opposite of what I said in the last segment, where I've been on my best behavior this week, which I have. I have been disciplined. I've been home. I've been getting work done. I'm busy nowadays. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on with you.
I've got a lot to say, and there's a lot going on. But you can check out the Fanatic Deal of the Week. Get a $50 voucher to Bonesaw Brewing Company for half off with locations in Glassboro and Deptford, New Jersey. Bonesaw Brewing Company delivers a top-notch selection of brews for all to enjoy. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. Before we get back to the Birds, I want to get back to the text line real quick here with our guy, Austin Jones. Austin, what's going on over there?
This is Norm from Mayfair. The Dodgers aren't scary with the bullpen that allowed 9 runs, 24 blown saves. The Dodgers got booed off the field. The World Series is looking pretty good right now.
So them getting booed was hilarious. It was funny to see another manager suffer the consequences of his actions with the bullpen. Like, just because knowing how we would have reacted to Dave Roberts taking out Ohtani at 60-something pitches with 5 no-hit innings, it was funny to see that happen elsewhere. I was like, that's a good thing for us. Also, the money they spent on their bullpen this offseason, we talked about just flushing money down the drain here. Also, they did that as well. Their bullpen, they spent money on, ended up not being good. It's one of the driving forces of why I think you can win a series against the Dodgers. And I know a lot of people would be like, oh, my gosh, we're relying on our bullpen versus someone else's. Yeah, kind of. When you watch it, and it's working.
Well, and it has worked. How many series have they won since October or August 1st?
A lot of them. I was just naming the ones where they beat the good teams, like teams above 500.
Well, that's the thing. We were debating, what was the bigger signing? What was the better signing? Who's been more impactful? Duran was such a huge signing for the way that it solidified the bullpen and the relief you have when the closer comes in. And then obviously Harrison Bader came actually the next day. His signing was actually, the trade for him was actually on trade deadline day. So
I was on the air.
It almost kind of lost a little bit of its luster. It was like, But if you think about it, both have solidified key things that were really question marks. Because you had the back end now of the bullpen completely set up with the closer, everybody else has their role. And so the bullpen is no longer this scary entity.
No, neither is the outfield.
It's amazing how that works. And honestly, I remember being on that week of trade deadline day and then the days after it. And even the week after it, people calling for Dave Dombrowski, what a terrible trade deadline, awful. And because Harrison Bader, people thought he was just going to be just a platoon guy. It's just laughable to look back at what everybody was like. And if you were that person, you were not alone. You were not alone in that. That was a sentiment across the fan base, across pundits, across critics, nationally baseball. It's a pretty good signing, but, is it really helped the Phillies a lot? Clearly, both have helped the Phillies incredibly, because it solidified everything. And the Harrison Bader one is just, I have to tip my cap because you called it, and I was like, I don't know.
How you feel about Harrison Bader now, Amy Fadul?
Every time he does anything, I have to text Ray because I'm like, here he is again. I mean, literally anything. Just chugs a beer in the middle of an interview. Well, I got to rip that off and send that to Ray because he's a new vibes officer, and he's a vibes officer that contributes on the field.
Yeah, he can hit.
He can hit in a big way, and he can hit. He's that 6'7" now obviously he's been at the leadoff spot without Trey Turner there, but when he's batting where his usual spot is, and that's in the 6th spot, 6, 7, 8, 9 is none of them are an automatic out, and he is a big reason for that. And I cannot believe I just said that sentence out loud. I wish you guys could see, YouTube could see him. Ray is sitting back. The smugness is just absolutely emanating right there as far as I told you so.
And it's not I told you so, Amy Fadul. It's I told a lot of you so.
He did. He went on there and said, you guys don't understand. This is much better. This is going to improve. I'm like, is it? Is it really going to?
The man track a fly ball. It is the cockiest thing in the world, watching him. The swagger he has. He's getting to a fly ball. His range, he's like, yeah, all right, now I'm going to start backpedaling and grab this ball. Yeah. The way he plays the ball off the wall. The way he fields his position.
Especially, here's a guy that arrived here, had never played center field here.
Right.
With any kind of, he was with the Twins. And then he was with the Cardinals before that. He was the Yankees. He never really played here.
Outside of the Mets last year for what? A handful of games?
it's wonky out there, right, with Amani's angle. And he plays that perfect. It's just, Ray is very, he should be puffing his chest out, because I was like, I don't know.
Harrison Bader is Mr. Incredible, baby.
I was like, it's better, but how much is it going to make a difference?
But it has.
But it has in a big way.
Oh, but it has. All right, we want to get back to the birds. I know our guy, Dr. Bad Elf, wants to get a little bit of the noise we were talking about. So let's go to the phone lines here at 610-632-0975. Greg, what do you got for us?
Morning, guys.
Morning.
It seems to me that Sirianni's not going to have to look too far for bulletin board material. I think all this outside noise may well be used as a motivating factor. Us against the world. It seems like the tush push, they're going to continue to complain about that. And I think I sort of feel like a sense of pride that we run it so well and stuff it up their nose.
All right, Greg, we might have to throw you into that four walls right there in Novacare to give the speech. I think you kind of feel the same way that you want Sirianni to feel.
Well, I do. I mean, I'm sure that there's times when everything is going well and it's hard to find bulletin board material. You can only talk about fertilizing flowers so much. And so I think this is going to last all season, probably.
I would imagine that they're going to have bulletin board material every week because somebody in a rival city or somebody on a rival team or the team they're playing that week is going to say something about the Eagles that provides it, just because you're going against Super Bowl champ. You're going to end up saying something dumb. Jared Verse, I still am thinking about what he said about Philadelphia back last year's postseason.
Right. Now, I don't understand why it's so difficult to officiate. You got to clear people out of the neutral zone, and you ought to be able to see if somebody's moving or not. I don't really understand why it's so difficult.
Greg, they're just not doing their jobs. It's that simple. And Dean Blandino said it. They're sick of it. He's sick of officiating the tush push. I'm sure that's the way other people feel. Oh, this is going to be a melee. Whatever. I mean, your job is not optional.
That's the thing.
You're an official. Do your job. You're not a fan.
You can see it. We can see. You can look down the line. Officials, there are line judges. There's back judges. There's numerous officials out there on the field. How do you not see some of the things that are so obvious when we watch them on television? The down the line camera clearly shows 3 Chiefs helmets right in the middle.
Oh, it also clearly showed a touchdown, and we didn't get that either. So.
Oh, that was ridiculous. Even after review, and I was like, what's happening? Whatever.
Speaking of ridiculous.
Didn't matter.
A.J. Brown should want a trade. Says who? From Fox Sports. That's coming up. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies came back again to beat the Dodgers last night, this time 9-6, as they took the series and the season series against L.A. Rafael Marchand hit a 3-run home run in the top of the 9th inning, and, well, Johan Duran does what he does best. He closed the door on the Dodgers this time around. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo was on the mound, and first pitch is set for 10-10. During the Chiefs game, Drew Makuba made the play of the game with his red zone interception, which bounced off the hands of Travis Kelce's. And defensive coordinator Vic Fangio spoke to the media yesterday about the play of the rookie.
Yeah, he had some really nice plays. The 2 you're alluding to, obviously. Did a good job when we brought him on the one pressure. I thought he had some really, really nice plays, and then some other ones that we got to eliminate, too.
Last night, the Union fell to Nashville SC in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal. They'll be back in action on Saturday, though, at 2:30 when they face the New England Revolution. This update's brought to you by Wawa. Wawa's newest $6 meal deal. Choose a shorty hoagie, chicken sandwich, or wrap, plus a small fountain drink and Hearst chips, all for $6. Gotta have a Wawa. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Philadelphia Eagles defense was great. How much of an impact from week 1 to week 2 was just having Jaylen Carter back on the field?
Yeah, man, I think you can see the impact that he made right off the bat. just opening things up. I thought Jordan Davis, by the way, had another really strong outing, especially defending the run. It was a defense that you saw swarm to the football, and Nolan Smith really physical and violent at the point of attack. It just seemed like with Jaylen Carter there, his impact really reflected through all three levels of the defense. And I really did think that Vic Fangio did a nice job adjusting and playing the Eagles playing that defense a little bit differently in the second half, because Patrick Mahomes looked like he was reeling for the third and fourth quarter.
Did we watch the game that will get the Tush Push banned?
Eventually. I think it will eventually, and they may refer to this game as the source of it.
I mean, we got Dean Blandino giving his opinion during his analysis of the play, talking about how I'm done with the Tush Push, and I'm just going to guess that sentiment's going to start
That helps
to
a lot.
spread.
Yeah, that could help a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, it feels inevitable anyway, but certainly, I came away with the same takeaway as you, Andrew. It feels like this is going to be the game that they refer back to and try to get some legs underneath it to get rid of it.
One quick thing. It was pointed out to me that Rich McKay and the Rules Committee, they rarely take up a vote on a rule 2 years in a row when it's defeated in a year. That has not been common. So that's just something to look into. They rarely take up, when a vote comes and a vote is negative, they rarely take up the same vote the next year. So that's the only thing that could potentially save it. But I think it's done. I think it's
Yeah, I think there's going to be enough teams, to your
Correct.
point, John, that they're going to have to try to address it.
Through it coming up at noon. The NFL notes at noon. We'll have that with Austin Jones. And later on, got Sirianni's presser scheduled for 12:10.
I do want to, Greg, great call, Greg. He talked about the fertilization, and I just did the quick math during the break.
Okay.
Do you know what the record is since the planting of the roots?
Since we all fertilized.
It was October 27th, 2021.
Yes, I believe they were 2-5 at that point. So if I could get that, are we including postseason in this?
Yes, I'm including postseason.
Crap. All right. 7 and now you're gonna make me do math live on the air. Let's see how well does Ray remember the Sirianni era. 7 and 4, 14, 3. So they lost 4 games that season because of the Super Bowl. 14. They were 16. 7. I'm almost there, people. I'm doing math live on the air. Remember, I majored in communications. Don't throw my SAT score at me again.
Did the chat? Is anybody in the YouTube chat got it?
I'm sure someone.
Austin, you have anything?
I think if memory serves me correct, 6-3. Oh wait, no. Well, that's just the postseason record.
This is the entire record since October 27th.
Here,
listening's not my best attribute sometimes.
Yeah, clearly, that's okay.
Luckily, that's not important for a producer.
He was like, "Wait, what happened? 6-3." I'm like, "That's definitely not it."
It's that's your version of the Begun 4 conversation right there.
Or was it Sean? We asked him what team Vince Carter played for.
Yes,
the Sixers.
Like, nope, not quite.
That would have been a different season.
53-18.
54-18. 54. You didn't carry the 1. Yes.
The show is over. I'm leaving. I'm out of here.
54-18 after we thought it was one of the most. And the thing is, because I wanted to pull up the exact date of the planting of the Roots speech, all of the stuff. So I literally Googled like plants Sirianni speech. All the hits are like bizarre speech, bizarre analogy, strange.
We all fertilize.
Yeah, we're just like, what's happening right now? 54-18 with 2 trips to the Super Bowl and 1 Lombardi trophy. What?
I got to call Tom Alpert here. I got his drop board next to me. He doesn't even have the We All Fertilize on it.
I mean, it was an incredible. I remember being on Bert's Huddle that day and being like, I don't know why we're talking about this. You have a losing record.
Yeah. Because the roots.
The roots were strong. We were worried about the dead plant that was showing on the top, but Nick knew, Sirianni knew it was the roots that were strong.
It's all about the roots.
It's all about the bread. What? Sorry. It is. It's all about the bread.
We all fertilize.
There you go.
It is.
Now, someone that is rooting for those roots to die in a very, very strong way is a man that's been hurt personally by what's happened over the last week and over the last 7 months with this Eagles team. And it's Nick Wright. Nick Wright is rooting on the Eagles' downfall so hard. And I can understand why. He's watched his favorite team be replaced as the it team by the Eagles. We talked about earlier, we believe at this point the Eagles have become the nation's hateable brand. They've become the it team in the NFL. That's what comes with it. That's where we're at this point. Nick Wright was on, I believe, The Herd with Colin Cowherd. I believe this is where they had the back and forth because they're promoting First Things First because, that's Cowherd's kind of the flagship of what goes on there. So they bring on Nick Wright to have the back and forth. And here is, for Cowherd, I believe this is his way of injecting controversy and having, he loves a good narrative and he loves to run with the narrative. Mm-hmm. For Nick Wright, this is just sheer hatred of the Philadelphia Eagles and hoping that everything fails. Here's them trying to dissect the passing game and what they believe the takeaway should be from the Eagles' passing game woes through 2 games.
He's a top 3 receiver, arguably, but yet in the NFL, which is all about the shield and unity and follow the coach, it's like a guy can't ask for a trade. I would totally support A.J. Brown if he just said, guys, I love you. I got 5 catches for 30 yards. This is a terrible fit. Go throw to Devontae. Am I wrong on this?
No, A.J. Brown told us as much days after the Super Bowl. He posted an Instagram photo talking about how, and then he wrote in the caption, and I'm paraphrasing, but about how the satisfaction of the Super Bowl lasted 2 days. It's almost a direct quote. Where I get my love for the game is demoralizing a defensive back, is showing my excellence. He told us that's who he is, and that's part of the reason he's become so great. That while winning is fun, what he plays for is, dominating his matchup.
All right. That might be what he plays for. He might be driven by that. That's a great thing. I will tell you, if that's what he's about, since the start of the 2022 season, he's got the 6th most receiving yards in football. I understand they've gone very run heavy. The guy realizes where this offense is at right now. I can totally understand if he's annoyed. We talked about it last week when he had the back and forth with reporters.
But he had a great answer, I thought, on Sunday.
Yeah, and he still could be annoyed. The idea that he should, after 2 games, walk into the offices at NovaCare and be like, you know what, I won out. is just a way for someone outside of Philadelphia to have a thought on Philadelphia.
Right.
Like for Coward, it's for him, it's I want to try and find the narrative base. He does the comparison to basketball. He does a very like broad brush painting here. For Nick Wright, it's just sheer hatred. Nick Wright, just what he wants right there, he's speaking what he wants into
And that's the
existence.
thing.
This is what I want A.J. Brown
He's
to be.
going to shape the narrative to fit, or shape whatever he thinks AJ's thinking to fit his narrative, right? His narrative is there's no way a top-level receiver is going to be happy in an offense where he's not featured number one. And therefore, he must want to get out of town. He does not like winning or Super Bowls.
This morning, I heard Kincade and Salciunas had Jeff McClain on, and John asked about a summit. Like, because last year the offensive lineman went into Sirianni's office, like, hey, man, how about the running game? Like, this seems pretty big with Saquon Barkley. And, like, could the summit this year be Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown going into the office like, hey, remember, we play for your football team? That could be the case.
Right.
But for 2 weeks, if you think A.J. Brown is so naive to believe that the team that's made him one of the highest paid receivers in all of football, that won a Super Bowl with him, that has given him the opportunity to, again, have these 6 most receiving yards since he got here in all the football, if you think he's so naive to not realize that and not at least give this thing an opportunity, I think you've lost your mind. And that's why last week I said, hey, I realize when A.J. Brown answers the question saying, hey, that's a setup question, I'm like, hey, I'm going to just acknowledge that. I'm going to acknowledge that it happened. When he answers the question following the game this week, we acknowledge that it happened.
Right.
We're keeping our ears up for it. But to go that far is a wild
That's the
overstatement.
thing. Like, it's one thing to be a little bit like, hey, I'd love to be featured more and I'd love to get the ball more. Of course, you're a receiver. I was talking to Jason Avant on Sunday. He's like, we're receivers. That's what we want to do. We want to be involved. And A.J. Brown has said it. And it's not a crazy statement to say or to hear him say, this is a better offense when I'm involved. Yeah, of course it is. You're one of the best receivers in the game. This is nothing outworldly. But then to take it to the next level of like, well, he must want to get out of these. He should ask for a trade. What? No.
Why? Who in the world?
Because he just wants to go get stats.
Right.
Doesn't strike me as a stats only centric guy.
Here's the thing: if you dominate your matchups, but your season ends in December,
great.
Lot less people talking about you. Like,
you finish the season, you have like 4 wins.
Cool. Good for you.
What do you do with that?
Or
you go play golf.
Yeah.
Quickly.
And I don't know. Does he strike you as a big golf guy? Think that he wants to go play golf?
Doesn't strike me as a big golf guy.
No, not really.
Maybe he's like a Cancun guy. 3, 2, 1, Cancun.
Yeah. Well, I would like to go to
don't
Cancun.
know. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. Cancun doesn't sound too bad to me. What did sound kind of bad to me? Yesterday, Vic Fangio spoke to the media. And Fangio was talking about Jaylen Carter. And we've had this conversation before about the payday he's going to get. Fangio talked about the shape that Jaylen Carter's in. And I didn't necessarily love this.
Yeah, he tried to he was asked about it 2 different, because there was a follow-up, because there was definitely like an eyebrow raise, like.
Yeah, we're going to get into this coming up. Because we heard it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I see the reasons why. I don't love the reasons why anyways. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn, taking through middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Eagles quarterback
The Philadelphia Eagles defense was great. How much of an impact from week 1 to week 2 was just having Jaylen Carter back on the field?
Yeah, man, I think you can see the impact that he made right off the bat, just opening things up. I thought Jordan Davis, by the way, had another really strong outing, especially defending the run. It was a defense that you saw swarm to the football, and Nolan Smith really physical and violent at the point of attack. It just seemed like with Jaylen Carter there, his impact really reflected through all 3 levels of the defense. And I really did think that Vic Fangio did a nice job adjusting and playing the Eagles playing that defense a little bit differently in the second half, because Patrick Mahomes looked like he was reeling for the 3rd and 4th quarter.
Did we watch the game that will get the tush push banned?
Eventually. I think it will eventually, and they may refer to this game as the source of it.
I mean, we got Dean Blandino giving his opinion during his analysis of the play, talking about how I'm done with the tush push, and I'm just going to guess that sentiment's going to start
That helps
to
a lot.
spread.
Yeah, that could help a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, it feels inevitable anyway, but certainly, I came away with the same takeaway as you, Andrew. It feels like this is going to be the game that they refer back to and try to get some legs underneath it to get rid of it.
One quick thing. It was pointed out to me that Rich McKay and the Rules Committee, they rarely take up a vote on a rule 2 years in a row when it's defeated in a year. That has not been common. So that's just something to look into. They rarely take up when a vote comes and a vote is negative. They rarely take up the same vote the next year. So that's the only thing that could potentially save it. But I think it's done. I think it's
Yeah, I think there's going to be enough teams, to your
Correct.
point, John, that they're going to have to try to address it.
That's right. For those who don't know,
Bill just stopped in the studio.
That's it.
What's up, Billy C? Hope you're. He's behind. He's only got 2 hours and 15 minutes to prepare the show, so I'm worried about him. I haven't heard the promo. Did we play the promo yet for today?
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, it's ran a couple times.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I took my headphones off a number of
You
times.
thought Bill was going to not put out the promo?
No, I was shocked. That's what it was. He's up at 3 a.m. recording that promo, making sure that promo gets sent into the station here. Good to see Billy C. and Unfiltered coming your way at 2 o'clock. I'll be interested to hear his thoughts on a number of things, including something that happened, and I know they got into it yesterday on Unfiltered, the Jaylen Carter not being in shape conversation. Impact is felt in that game. Here's what Fangio had to say about Carter to start.
He had some good rushes. He's still, I think he needs to round into better shape. Both he and I talked about that, and he readily admits that, and I think we'll even get more. But I thought for everything that has gone on in his world, thought he played pretty good.
Thought he played pretty good, too. But he readily admits that he's out of shape. So, naturally, reporters, wait a second. Someone's
Hold on.
hold up. It's the regular season.
Follow up there real quick.
Yeah, real quick. Can we get a little bit more on that situation? Fangio, what's the deal there?
There's a lot of reasons for that. One, he has had a shoulder issue, which has limited his time on the practice field. The shorter practices that we do, the lack of reps that he's gotten for multiple reasons.
Okay. All right. There's a little bit of the injury issue. Okay. And then there was just getting the later start. Okay.
So, and someone can tell me if I'm being a little bit just rude about this, but the shoulder, when I went to school, is up here.
The legs are down there.
Yeah. Is that not the shape we're talking about? I'm very confused as to why the shape isn't there right now.
It was interesting because the follow-up question was basically because everybody did what we all did, was just like, I'm sorry, you talked about his conditioning? And if this was any other player, except for maybe Jordan Davis,
Slim JD,
now we don't talk about it as much, or we talk about it in the positive. But these are two things that, two players, I should say, that we've talked about with this particular issue, this particular thing being conditioning. And it seemed like last year everything was better, and then now you hear that, and it's just like, well, why wouldn't he be in good condition? He was available in training camp. I mean, technically, he was available in week one. He didn't play in week one, but he was there.
He was there.
He was there.
We did
all
see him
saw
on television.
So that was interesting to me. I thought that was it because the question was followed up on, and then it wasn't even more of like a clarification or a walk back. It was kind of like, oh, well, here's why. Oh, so okay. And he was like, well, no, not necessarily, but here's this, and this. I'm like, okay. Yeah, now he's dealing with, he went to the training room
Right. And credit to him, again, for playing through what he was playing through, whatever it was, where he kept shaking out the right hand throughout that entire game.
Is that a shoulder thing?
I don't know. I don't know what necessarily is there. And we'll get an injury report today, and maybe he'll be on it, maybe he won't be. We'll see where he lies with that. But I understand, I can't say enough how much I appreciate the talent that he is and what he does for this defense. You can't talk enough about just how good a player he is. Also, when you talk about that Super Bowl run last year, you go back to the end of that Rams game, there's a chance that you're not playing for that Super Bowl if you don't have Jaylen Carter in that moment playing at the level that he was playing at last season.
Just his presence out there this Sunday as opposed to the Cowboys opener was a huge difference maker. Huge difference maker on every level of the defense. There is no doubt about that. He is the game wrecker. He is the X factor. He makes everything go. You don't want to have any questions about conditioning week 2.
No.
When you're thinking about how long the season is. That's all.
And it goes back to a conversation we had following that Cowboys game. This guy is going to break a record for how much a defensive player has been paid. For good reason.
Yeah.
The man's damn talented. You see it every time he steps out on the football field. He is one of the most amazing defensive players that you can watch when he is at the top of his game.
Absolutely.
So he obviously is going to get that payday. And I will not stand in the way of him getting that payday. When they end up signing that contract, I will celebrate it.
I mean, they've already set themselves up for that.
Right.
They already know this. We can't play these guys because we're going to pay Jaylen Carter.
With that being said, 2 weeks into the season, we've had an ejection and a defensive coordinator talking about the conditioning that he's in. I can't have this be the storylines surrounding the star defensive player that you're going to pay a lot of money. Yeah. You should pay him that money. He is that level of star. But I need just that level of professionalism we talked about following the ejection across the board here in terms of being in shape and in terms of, obviously, the on-the-field stuff where we're talking about the unsportsmanlike. And I think you saw that. At least you've seen he took accountability after that game, and obviously there was not a problem last week. So I think that's an area of growth at this point where, all right, we're moving past that whole thing that happened week 1. I just would like for him to just, again, not let me have to be talking about this. I don't want to be talking about this.
Yeah.
I just want to be talking about, wow, look at the way he impacted the game.
Exactly. And the thing is, I know that he also wants to, because now when Jaylen Carter is going to be made available, or you're going to see him in the locker room, people are going to ask him, is your conditioning okay? He doesn't want to sit there and talk about it.
No.
Just like he didn't want to talk about the Spitgate.
Right. So that's
just take care
what
of
I'm
it.
asking for. And we talked about, keeping the ears up when you hear AJ talk about the passing offense. Keep my ears up everything with Jaylen Carter right now, just because this is back-to-back weeks where with storylines that aren't just, wow, isn't this guy a lot of fun to watch play football?
Yep.
And that's annoying, really, what it comes down to. Coming up, something that never annoys me. NFL Notes at noon.
Oh.
We got Austin Jones, man in the NFL Notes at noon, coming up at noon. We'll take you through that. And then Sirianni at 12:10, allegedly. We'll see what time he shows up today. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with their Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies came back and beat the Dodgers last night 9-6 as they took the series and the season series against L.A. Rafael Marchand hit a 3-run home run in the top of the 9th inning to put the Phillies up, and Johan Duran came in to close the door. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo is on the mound to go for the sweep. First pitch is set for 10-10. During the Chiefs game, rookie safety Andrew Makuba made the play of the game with his red zone interception, and defensive coordinator Vic Fangio spoke to the media yesterday about the play of the rookie.
Yeah, he had some really nice plays. The 2 you're alluding to, obviously. Did a good job when we brought him on the one pressure. I thought he had some really, really nice plays, and then some other ones that we got to eliminate, too.
Last night, the Union fell to Nashville SC 3-1 in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal. They'll be back in action on Saturday at 2:30 to face the New England Revolution. This update's brought to you Bet365. Football is back. Get ready for the season at Bet365. When it comes to sportsbooks, Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best sports coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Eagles defense was great. How much of an impact from week 1 to week 2 was just having Jaylen Carter back on the field?
Yeah, man, I think you can see the impact that he made right off the bat, just opening things up. I thought Jordan Davis, by the way, had another really strong outing, especially defending the run. It was a defense that you saw swarm to the football, and Nolan Smith really physical and violent at the point of attack. It just seemed like with Jaylen Carter there, his impact really reflected through all three levels of the defense. And I really did think that Vic Fangio did a nice job adjusting and playing the Eagles a little bit, playing that defense a little bit differently in the second half, because Patrick Mahomes looked like he was reeling for the third and fourth quarter.
Did we watch the game that will get the Tush Push banned?
Eventually. I think it will eventually, and they may refer to this game as the source of it.
I mean, we got Dean Blandino giving his opinion during his analysis of the play, talking about how I'm done with the Tush Push, and I'm just going to guess that sentiment's going to start
That helps
to
a lot.
spread.
Yeah, that could help a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, it feels inevitable anyway, but certainly, I came away with the same takeaway as you, Andrew. It feels like this is going to be the game that they refer back to and try to get some legs underneath it to get rid of it.
One quick thing. It was pointed out to me that Rich McKay and the Rules Committee, they rarely take up a vote on a rule 2 years in a row when it's defeated in a year. That has not been common. So that's just something to look into. They rarely take up, when a vote comes and a vote is negative, they rarely take up the same vote the next year. So that's the only thing that could potentially save it. But I think it's done. I think it's
Yeah, I think there's going to be enough teams, to your
Correct.
point, John, that they're going to have to try to address it.
NWPN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcast live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. Take you through the midday show. We got the NFL notes at noon coming up at noon. It's a self-explanatory
it really
segment,
is.
but
It's written in there.
I never know. You've been in this industry for a long time, Amy Fadul. Like when it says it in the name, what time it is.
Inherently, people should, understand when that segment would occur.
I also have a question for you about football watching etiquette because I'm curious. It's obviously the weather's gotten a little bit cooler, but there was a conversation between my old roommate and current roommates about, like, we were watching the game together Sunday, and we're like, well, when we'll do this again. And one of my roommates does a really great job making chili during football season. Is it too early to break that out right now?
No.
I think it is.
Why?
I think it's still a little too warm. I don't equate chili with September football. I think it has to be like a late October into November.
You want like just straight up cold. You don't need like a crisp 60-degree day?
No.
That's not a chilly day for you?
No, not really.
Oh.
I mean, I think this is perfect weather. Any time I can be in long sleeves and shorts, this is like the ideal weather.
Great weather, but I feel like a long sleeve shirt can necessitate chili.
Austin Jones, do you think it's too early for chili at the football game day?
Absolutely not. My dad makes great chili. So if he wants to serve it up, I'm there. I'm going to get me a plate.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to turn it down necessarily because if it's
you
not me
making it. You just see it like a cold weather, much colder.
I'm not like 2 weeks from now, because my old roommate works does like game day at the lake. So for home games we can't watch with him. So it's really a road game only thing. Like 2 weeks,
right?
For the Tampa game,
it'll come back.
I'm watching the Eagles play sunny September game in Tampa Bay.
You can't do that. How about in December if they're playing?
Well, it's different. It's cold out.
That makes no sense.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Sure it does.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
In your brain.
I'm curious for people. I'd love to get a little side going here on 610-632-0975. Is it too early to break out the chili for the NFL game day?
So you won't eat a bowl of soup during the course of summer then?
I try, I don't really know. I'm not a big soupsman in the summer. Like I like a good bowl of soup. Also, like if I don't feel great, like soup at any time is good.
See, there you go.
Right.
If I'm at a restaurant in the summer and I see soup or salad, I'm a big salad guy anyways, but I'm not going to go with the soup. I'm not.
There's some places that like the soup you just got to get.
Into October. Like get me into October, then we can start talking about it. I think it's too early for the chili. It's too early for the chili conversation. Conversation that's happening nationally right now is about the Tush Push. Before we get to the NFL Notes to Noon, I want to get Joe from Mantua in here, talk about that. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yeah, how you guys doing today, all right?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Yeah, I think I talked to your screener. I said, I think the Tush Push, they can't stop it. The league couldn't legislate it. I think they're going to officiate it out of the game. Like, I guarantee you this Sunday there's at least one false start call on the Eagles.
Oh, I think they're going to try.
Yeah, agreed.
Because, you can't run that Tush Push at 4th and 6th.
Yeah.
And it just,
and then that'll be a punt, and then we'll all be upset come Monday. Yeah, no, I think they're definitely going to try. This week there will be probably at least one penalty called against the Eagles during the Tush Push just to put the thought in their head.
And I said, with all these national guys, they're just beating the drum right now. It's just like, you say something long enough, people start to believe it. But I think I've seen it. I watch almost every Eagle game. I've seen it twice in the last 4 or 5 years where they did jump. The playoff game last year where Lane Johnson got called, and this game, I think both players moved simultaneously, which is why they didn't throw the flag. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I think they're going to after this weekend. I think they've kind of put the point out there for people to watch it. Mm-hmm. Like, I think the fact that it was so highlighted and you got Blandino discussed on the broadcast talking about it.
Multiple people talking about it.
Now this week, it's like even if they're not even if you feel like it's not a penalty, they're probably going to be overzealous in trying to throw the laundry on the field.
Yeah, and the thing is, like if they do call the offsides or false start or whatever, you can't review that.
Right.
Right. So it is what it is. So to his point, a 4th and 6, you're not running anymore. So they're just going to officiate it. So they don't run it.
I think this week, I do think, even though I said this after the Frankie Louvu incident in the AFC Championship game, I ended up being wrong. Hand up on that one. I'll admit it. I think I watched the Tush Push die again.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Tush Push is like a cat, like the whole 9 lives thing going on, but like I feel like I watched it die again over the weekend just because of all the moaning and complaining about it.
It was just like, well, and the thing is, we've already been here. Yeah. Yeah, the whole nonsense about the officials saying they don't know how to call it. I don't understand that. Just because you don't know how to call it, that's on you. It's been around for years.
It's your job. You knew it was coming back this year. All right, forget it. Let's go nationally. Yeah. So what else is going on in football? Hit the music, Austin Jones. It's the NFL Notes at noon.
Alrighty, so Eagles are playing the Rams this weekend, and there's a new injury that popped up on the Rams injury report, but it's not a player. Head coach Sean McVay revealed on his Coach McVay show that he tore his plantar fascia this past weekend while coaching. He said, good news, I'm not playing. I'm just on the sideline watching. So if I have a little cool limp that adds some swag, Ray Dunn, then you'll know why.
Yeah, it's not cool, man. You're washed. That's what happened there. That's unfortunately the nature of it. Now, I will say, I do wonder. We saw Sirianni throw the challenge flag the way he got up the field. Like, are you not able to get to an official for a timeout? Are you not able to, there is a little bit going on there for me. The mobility of a coach is an underrated mobility in sports, especially the football coach moving up and down that sideline.
They also have the get-back coach that has to follow him.
Right. That guy's job just became a lot easier.
Because he's not moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, McVay, I remember watching a decent clip of probably 10 minutes. He has a very specific, because he's very demonstrative on the sidelines. His get-back coach is busy.
He can't be this week.
Nope.
Not having I'm not I say this, and people are this is just him being a little, radio guy here. It's not even really a bit. You think about the number of coaches that go running up the sideline to get the timeout, running up the sideline to try and get the challenge. That is something that I would be watching. I don't know. Do you have now is the get back guy becoming the timeout guy where he's running up the field? Is he able to even do that? Where are we going to get that? Luckily, you have Matthew Stafford, who's experienced to do it. But I'm just saying, you don't like a look, maybe you don't get the timeout. A little thing to watch. That'll be. With the pregame show, Connor likes to say, as we're prepping the show, all right, what's the dumb thing in Ray's mind this week that you're going to bring up that has something to do with this game? That might be my dumb thing of the week that I say has impact on this game.
McVay can't get down the sideline. Time expires. Eagles win again last minute.
Yeah, there you go.
Get down there.
Get better soon, McVay.
Alrighty. Speaking of looks, Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen will look to have a clear visor on tomorrow night as the Bills take on the Miami Dolphins. Due to a bruised nose, Allen had a funny comment about this, saying that he's the third Bosa brother in the NFL, and even his coach commented on Allen's nose, Sean McDermott. Yeah, his nose didn't get any bigger, I don't think. It's always been good. It looks good to me. I think it still looks good, and I think we're in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, the nose thing, he's okay, so that's good for the sport. If there was ever a game where I would be more interested if Josh Allen wasn't playing in it, it's probably this one.
Yeah.
Because the Dolphins-Bills has a chance to be the I'm asleep at the end of the first half game of the season. Mm-hmm. I'm not, Mike McDaniel, I don't necessarily want to see him fail. But watching him fail is so funny that it's difficult for me to separate the two.
Even when his team won, his press conferences were a little bit confusing.
Right.
But now they're really they've derailed.
Right. And to see it, unfortunately, as a guy who roots for a little bit of chaos and a little bit of joy, I am taking joy in the hilarity of his pressers. So it's not that I want to see you lose your job and fail. It's just that your failing is very entertaining to me right now.
Entertaining for you.
Yeah. I can't help it. It's something I'm looking forward to watching.
Alrighty, and last one here. The Commanders signed pass rusher Preston Smith to add depth to their defensive line. Smith, 32 years old, has 70.5 career sacks. So the oldest team in the NFL adds another old head to their locker room as they just lost Austin Eckler, who's 30. They also brought in Von Miller this past offseason. And they lost Dietrich Wise, who was 31. So, again, the old retirement home down in D.C. adds another, probably limited body.
Reverse DiCaprio, man. That's the Commander style. DiCaprio doesn't date older than 25. The Commanders don't sign under 30.
Yeah, there's no way. Got to bring him in.
Yeah.
How many years have you been in the NFL? If it had double digits minimum is what we're looking for. Minimum double digits.
30 plus. That's what they're looking for. They want that older age. That's what they're about. They want to make sure that it's all 30 plus. It's a way to build a team. It's just the inverse of how they suggest you. I guess not necessarily total inverse. Some of these teams are it's the inverse Rams kind of. Where the Rams have been the older quarterback, and it's they just went crazy young most of the time.
Yeah.
And now the Commanders are trying to do the reverse. We got the young quarterback. Let's just see if we can patchwork enough old people here to make it work out for him. But it's the reverse DiCaprio. You turned 30?
Yeah, okay.
Ah.
All right, we'll put you on our list.
Yeah, add contact.
You might be hearing from us.
Yeah.
Might be hearing from us. Oh, you've been out of the league for a year? Even better.
Interesting. Very nice. But, yeah, that was my immediate thing when I saw that this morning. I was like, yep, Commanders, let's go check. Preston Smith, I was like, hey, he's got to be early 30s, 32. There you go.
That's how you know he's good for them.
Yeah. Hey, no shame in going, a bit older game.
They want a seasoned team. They feel like they've got maybe some, like 2 young pieces, and they thought that's enough for us.
Hey.
We're going to stick with some of the older gentlemen and kick the tires around. Listen, it's better when they're not a complete disaster. It's better for the division, I should say.
Yeah, I'm okay if they're a disaster. I'm okay
How many
if the team
disasters
gets
do you
old.
need? You need 3 full-on disasters in the NFC East? I guess we do. You have 2.
I don't know how many times I've actually rolled this out there, but it's definitely a conversation I've had off the air. The Eagles deserve a lot of credit for what they've done over the last quarter century to put themselves in the position they are and be the franchise that they are. We don't give enough credit to the incompetence of the rest of this division, allowing the Eagles to become that. The Eagles have been the beneficiaries of Jerry Jones owning a football team, the beneficiaries of Dan Snyder owning a football team, the beneficiaries of the Giants losing their way. Like, after post-2011, where the Giants get that second Super Bowl, the Giants have not been able to at all find the magic. And I think it's because they used all their magic on 2 insane runs for very mediocre teams.
Well, and you can't draft Daniel Jones and then with no offensive line and think that's going to work out for you.
Yeah, and the Cowboys have cowboyed under Jerry Jones. I mean, outside of Dez potentially catching it, they've been just unable to capture the magic. And the Commanders, to their credit, finally made a conference championship game, something the Cowboys can't say this century. But
they got rid of their ownership.
Yeah, they got rid of their ownership, and we'll see how long it lasts. But the Eagles deserve a lot of credit for what they've done. This division deserves a lot of credit for helping the Eagles do what they've done.
Listen, sometimes the best advice is what you see others taking, right? You see what the Commanders did. You see, before when they had their poor ownership, you've seen what the Cowboys have done. You've seen how the Giants have operated, and you think, that's not working out. You know what I'm going to do? Not that.
Exactly.
Not going to do that.
And what we're going to do next, Nick Sirianni's presser right here. He's going to come speak to the media, we think. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Eagles wide receiver A.J.
The Philadelphia Eagles defense was great. How much of an impact from week 1 to week 2 was just having Jaylen Carter back on the field?
Yeah, man, I think you can see the impact that he made right off the bat, just opening things up. I thought Jordan Davis, by the way, had another really strong outing, especially defending the run. It was a defense that you saw swarm to the football, and Nolan Smith really physical and violent at the point of attack. It just seemed like with Jaylen Carter there, his impact really reflected through all 3 levels of the defense. And I really did think that Vic Fangio did a nice job adjusting and playing the Eagles playing that defense a little bit differently in the second half, because Patrick Mahomes looked like he was reeling for the 3rd and 4th quarter.
Did we watch the game that will get the Tush Push banned?
Eventually. I think it will eventually, and they may refer to this game as the source of it.
I mean, we got Dean Blandino giving his opinion during his analysis of the play, talking about how I'm done with the tush push, and I'm just going to guess that sentiment's going to start
That helps
to
a lot.
spread.
Yeah, that could help a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, it feels inevitable anyway, but certainly, I came away with the same takeaway as you, Andrew. It feels like this is going to be the game that they refer back to and try to get some legs underneath it to get rid of it.
One quick thing. It was pointed out to me that Rich McKay and the Rules Committee, they rarely take up a vote on a rule 2 years in a row when it's defeated in a year. That has not been common. So that's just something to look into. They rarely take up when a vote comes and a vote is negative. They rarely take up the same vote the next year. So that's the only thing that could potentially save it. But I think it's done. I think it's
Yeah, I think there's going to be enough teams, to your
Correct.
point, John, that they're going to have to try to address it.
I probably should have cut it shorter because the head coach of the reigning Super Bowl champs was scheduled to speak at 12:10. And I had extended that segment a little bit. And, inside radio. I extended it without thinking. I wanted to deliver my point about how these teams in the NFC East have helped the Eagles find the dominance that they have. And that was selfish of me. Like I said earlier, sometimes I'm just that excited kid with, you know what happened to my day? I just get so fired up what we're talking about, I don't shut up.
Let me tell you more.
And I know for a lot of you out there, you probably would prefer if I shut up a little bit more. But I took that segment a little bit longer. I was like, oh, man, this will be the one time Sirianni shows up on time, and he's going to show me. Not.
He was good last week. It was 12:11 when he came on.
All right.
Scheduled for 12:10. All right. If I started this show at 10:01, well, actually, I was going to say. Usually, a little bit true.
Sometimes, but that depends on who started it before you.
Right. Back when I used to do the 9 a.m. pregame show. Here
right. So you were the leader.
When I would do the 4 hours 9 to 1 leading into the 1 to 4 pregame show for those 4 o'clock, or if I did the postgame show, if I started that 9 o'clock show at 9:01, there would be a problem. Mm-hmm. That would be an issue. Super winning head coach, no issue. Absolutely no issue. The guy just invincibility.
He's got other stuff going on there.
Much like what Rich Eisen said, invincibility. He's got invincibility to him. I what can I do? I can only complain about him being late so many times. I'll complain every time, though. Yeah, I will.
I was going to say, but late, it's a hard term for me to take. I think these times are tentative times.
If you're early, you're on time.
Okay.
If you're on time,
all right, Tom
you're
Coughlin.
late. And if you're late, you're Nick Sirianni. All right? I don't know if this is your first day around this Middays program, Amy Fadul, but I feel a certain type of way about being prompt to a press conference. But Nick Sirianni will speak to the media coming up in a few minutes here.
Okay, we'll bring it to you.
Yeah, I just think that the next time Kyle Larulo has family dinner, he should at least acknowledge, hey, we do kind of schedule out our show around when you're scheduled to speak. So, we had a text here from Silvana that Sirianni's also under the weather. He was under the weather on Monday. So he's not only is he going to be a little bit late, but he's also going to be sniffling. Remember when he missed the presser? Oh, he's here? All right. Here's your head coach, Nick Sirianni.
Well done.
My eyes were swollen shut.
Remember the milk issue?
In the and you only get back at 2 in the morning. You don't get a lot. You guys know.
The milk issue. I remember that.
The what?
The milk issue.
Oh yeah, Bob wanted me to get milk.
Not as bad as Millie.
Touche. I was looking for.
When the
All right, Jeff got me there. Jeff, that was good. That was good.
When the Tush Push survived the attempts to get it banned in the offseason, did you anticipate that it would come up again throughout the year? And I don't know what your reaction is to when all this is going on, how you plan to deal with it throughout the year.
Right now, we don't have to deal with it right now. We got enough things that we got to deal with now, and so obviously you're always working to improve the play. You're always working through different things to complement it. They're always working through different things that if you don't have it, right? Right now we do, and that was that. And so again, I try to only control the things I can control, not anything that's out of my control.
The double positive, you've been talking a lot about that. The turnover part of it has been great. The explosive plays haven't been there yet. Those two things are sort of out of balance at times. You know, you may have to take some chances to get some explosive plays. How do you sort of balance that?
Yeah, you can still, be protecting the football is not just, in the passing game. And, any concept we have, it has different elements to it where, you're pushing the ball down the field sometimes, you're throwing it short sometimes, you're pushing it into the intermediate level sometimes. But that's what, you trust Jaylen in those scenarios to make the right decisions with the football. And he's done a great job of that and has been very, very efficient. And I think, it's everything. It's the explosive plays are not just in the passing game. They're in the running game. They're in the screen game as well. And so first and foremost, we'll always want to try to take the football away and protect the football. That's always first. And then with the explosive part of it is just, taking what they give you when they give it to you and, in the run game. So I think you can do both. And I think, throughout the years, we've done a really good job in both those areas. It just happened to be through our first two games, we're a little bit lower than what we've normally been. And, we're working like crazy to make sure that we can be efficient and also being explosive. And I think that's the goal of a lot of offenses, all offenses, to be truthful. So, go out there and practice, and that's where you get the confidence in the game is from practice to run the plays that you run and call the plays that you call, and the players have the confidence that they have.
With the run concepts that involve Jaylen, Kevin said those are in the playbook. Going into the season, did you know that really wouldn't be kind of in the opportunities in the first couple of games? Was that
again, that's 2 games in. I try not to get too, again, when we do self-scout or we do scouting of the defense, opponents of the defense that we're playing, you look back onto last year's stuff. You also, because there's such a small sample size, we got to remember that this is a 17-game season, and not to overreact on things that have happened just through the first 2 games. We found ways to win the first 2 games, and we know we have to get better at a lot of things, but there's a progression to it, and so that's what our goal is and our focus is right now.
The job the offensive line has done protecting Jaylen. I mean, obviously you guys invest a lot of money and resources in those guys, and they've got credentials, but I mean, have you been even more impressed from what you've seen these first 2 games from them than you thought?
Yeah, we always talk about winning the game up front. We talk about the double positive, but we also talk about winning the game on the offense and defensive line. It doesn't matter what level of football you are in; that it starts with those guys. And speaking of the offensive line, obviously, Lane, Landon, Jordan, Cam, Tyler, and have done a great job. Fred got in last game and did a really good job on the play that he was in, and he's given us good moments as a backup, and so has Pryor across the league, and so just have a ton of confidence in them. Stout does a great job of preparing them for the things that they'll see during the game, and what we naturally see as offense is things that you don't prepare for because you get a lot of unscouted looks. And so I really think that speaks to their ability to think as players. They're obviously there are these great physical specimens. I can't tell you how many times I'll see somebody in public and they'll be like, "Oh, you're a lot taller than I thought you were." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm 6'2", but I stand next to Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson and all these guys. But and Landon, but what you see is from those guys is obviously they're phenomenal football players, but they're able to think through things on the fly, and that's really important at every position, particularly at that offensive line. They've played good football. To date, and we expect that because they're really good football players, and I can't speak enough about what they mean to this football team, and all those guys, and Tyler stepped in and has done a really nice job so far, and I think that's a tribute to Tyler, obviously himself, and the work that he put in throughout the last couple years being here, but particularly this offseason. Like, I can't tell you how many times, if you're in a lift in the OTAs, hey, how did it look down there? And Nando's telling me, yeah, Tyler Steen had another great day. And so, he's really worked his butt off to be that the new guy in there, but the guys have confidence in him.
Hey, Nick, what did you see on film from Cam Latu and the handful of snaps he played, and could you see a bigger role for him if Dallas is unable to go?
Yeah, Cam obviously is playing fullback for us, and he is a physical dude, and it's exciting. Physical plays that show up on tape and that show during the game, that brings a lot of energy to your team, and I think that he's done a nice job. He's even back to preseason games, like he did a really good job on special teams, and you could see that physicality. You see it in practice. You see it in the game, and so there's always we love the way the physicality he plays with. Strong, big dude that loves to play physical, and there's always room for guys that play with that physicality on a football team. I always love those guys that play like that, and he's doing a nice job.
In your experience with the backs who've had big years, whether it was Jamal Charles, Melvin Gordon, what's that next year like in terms of the way defenses play them?
Yeah, I think they, obviously, I think a lot of, not obviously, but I think a lot of defensive coaches are focused on how to stop the run first. That's the first thing they go through. How do we stop the run? We've had, back to Miles Sanders, just since I've been here, Miles made the Pro Bowl off a great year in 22, then DeAndre made it in 23, Saquon made it in 24. And so when you get that, when you know you have that weapon in the backfield, you're going to get some unscouted looks, kind of what we talked about earlier, and that's natural. That that's the realities of having good players and good offenses. You're going to get some unscouted looks. So just being able to sort through those things in game, having smart guys out there, like we talked about with the offensive line, and yeah, I don't get too wrapped up into 1 year look like this. Next, Saquon's a phenomenal football player. He's not any less of a football player because he rushed for 2,000 yards last year. He's the same guy, getting better. He's continuing to get better, and so I guess I don't ever look at it that way. We have to find ways to be able to get runs started because Saquon's we haven't hit the 50-yarder yet, and I think he led the league in them last year. But those come. Especially with a guy like Saquon, because he's able to do things in the open field that other guys can't.
Nick, when you're that Carter needed to get in better shape, and yet he played like 80% of the snaps. Did you guys know going in that conditioning was an issue? Should that have affected the amount, or was it partly also because of the heat and humidity?
Yeah, we knew that it was going to be all hands on deck for that game. Where actually we prepared for that, like it was going to be a little bit hotter. It ended up being some cloud cover that was good, but we were prepared for that. He's working his butt off to be in the best shape of his life, just like just like all our guys. And so we know that if we're in great shape, then we can play relentless effort and we can play with great detail. It's hard to play with great detail and relentless effort when you're not in great shape. So that's always a work in progress for every player throughout the year, is just to get yourself into game shape, because, get yourself into game shape and then maintain it, because, there is no substitute for the games. Like, you can run as many, gassers as you want, or, be on the Versa climber or the bike, as much as you want, but there is no substitute for playing in the game. And so, you get in better shape as you play. We prepare them as much as we possibly can to get them there, knowing that they're not going to play a full game ever in practice or in the preseason, if at all in preseason. But that's what you're trying to, focus on, whether we do long drives or whether we do a conditioning drill with, as far as the way we play, because there's no substitute of actually playing live scenarios, and you try to simulate that as much as you possibly can.
Kind of a big picture question, but when you and Kevin were building the offense for coming into this year, how do you balance, like, this is what me and Kevin believe in and we want the offense to look like, versus let's build an offense for the players that we have and what they're best at?
It's always players. That goes back to, if you go back to Shane and myself and Kevin and all the guys in Stout and Jason, like, Shane's offense in San Diego and that he ran, and the offense that I was involved in Indianapolis, look different. Right? It's always got to be about the players, and it doesn't. There's a lot of great schemes, across the NFL. I think the best coaches, in my opinion, are the ones that have core philosophies of their scheme, but fit their players, because that's what it's always about. And I learned that from Larry Karras a long, long time ago. That it's, you may think that you want this. He always say players. Plays, formations, right? And you may want to run this certain scheme, or you may want to run that certain scheme, but does it fit your players the best way? I've said this about, brag on my brother for a second. My brother Jay, went far in the playoffs in the pro system, got a new group of guys, ran a spread system, won 2 state championships that way. Those guys graduated, didn't have the same type of guys, and then they went to the state championship running the wing tee. I'm like, that to me is how I was raised in this, and that to me is always players over plays. Always.
You mentioned two more. With the Rams this week, that might be the best wide receiver duo that you see all year. What is it about them, individually speaking, that just brings them to a different level?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good group. I think I have so much respect for Coach McVay. I think you see it all over his tape, the offensive mind that he is. And then you can see it with the detail that his team plays with. You can tell that his receivers, he's coached, and I know they have a good receiver coach too, but his receivers are coached up and really coached up, and I see that, you can see Sean's background, that he's done receivers, and so I've always thought that about Sean's guys. And now, you also have, excuse me, you also have 2 really good players there, and really, Tutu Atwell is really good too. Puka is a big, strong, physical guy that uses his body strength really well. Devontae Adams, has been doing what he does for a long time in the NFL. I always thought him and Keenan Allen were very similar type players. And obviously I coached Keenan, and their ability, their quickness in and out of breaks, their ability to get off the line of scrimmage, their ability just to catch the football. This is a challenge. That we'll have to be ready for, and Stafford can get them, all those guys, the football, and they got good running backs, they got good tight ends, solid offensive line. Just so much respect for this football team. and so much respect for, Coach McVay and their staff. We've worked with some of those guys too on that defensive side. I think, it's been a while, but I thought Chris Shula was a hell of a coach, and Giff Smith and Greg Williams, and they're just, you can just see, when you put on a tape and you have that type of respect for their coaches, you can see it early on.
Last one, guys.
How well equipped is Kevin to deal with the criticism that comes with being in that OC chair?
Yeah, that's a good question, Dave. I think one of the hardest positions to coach, I'll go there first. One of the hardest positions to coach is the position that your coordinator or your head coach played and coached. And so Kevin has dealt with a lot of my criticism throughout the years. And he has thick skin. And you have to have thick skin because, obviously, all you got to think, you got to do the things that you can do to control, the things that you can control. You can't focus on anything else. So we know there's going to be criticism, and we know what we signed up for. And I think Kevin's got a great mindset on that. He always has. I've used Kevin, full transparency, I've used Kevin in moments where he's like, man, you need to, he can be my mentor at times as far as, helping me get through things. And that's one reason I value Kevin so much. Obviously the football mind, all those different things is why he got the job, but I've always used Kevin to, talk through things, and we all need that. We all need to be able to talk through things. And so I have no question in my mind just through the past 8 years with Kevin that he's built for that.
All right. Thanks, folks. We got.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Nick. Oh, okay. So.
I always love when a wing tee reference pops up.
Yeah, so the wing tee reference. Jay Sirianni, confirmed, still a good football coach. I was wondering, hadn't heard. I got a text immediately from a buddy of mine. Week 3, we got a brother reference. So thank you, I guess, for waiting until week 3 for the Jay Sirianni reference. It had been a while. Glad to know he's still doing really well as a coach and that, you still love him. I will say that we all have crutches when we speak. There's all things that we hearken back to, we listen back to, and we're like, oh, yeah, I say that a lot. Sirianni does a tremendous job of saying, I can't speak enough about, and then going on for 2 minutes about said topic, speaking more than anyone ever asked him about that topic. I can't speak enough about that offensive line, he says before a 3-minute answer that takes us to Tyler Steen lifting during OTAs. It's impressive. It's really impressive the way he is able to continue to talk about things.
Conditioning, a lot of conditioning.
A lot of conditioning in there. Predictability was something that they asked about in there, which there was a good story in The Athletic today about how predictable they are right now. Basically, they're telegraphing what they're doing offensively, and they have to find an answer to that because there's a very easy tell of what they're doing. If they're in pistol or under center, they're running. If they're in shotgun, they're passing. That's pretty much the breakdown from anyone that's watching any tape of what's happening with this team right now. They can talk all they want about, self-scout. And, sometimes it's just the looks that present themselves. And it's just, they got to correct that. That has to be something that's corrected. The explosive plays, he mentioned the screen game in an answer about explosive plays, which made me want to scream in the midst of that entire thing. Like, you can feel the Sirianni influence on the offense when we see that number of plays in which the ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage and someone is trying to make a play on it.
10, we threw it 8.
He also mentioned how focused teams are to stop the Eagles' run because of the number of years we've seen in which they've run the ball well. Which, if we have consistency,
especially against the Rams,
amongst the staff, though, shouldn't we know that this is coming? Like, you're like, yeah, well, this has been something that's happened for years. Great. Then you've known for years how to scheme up for it.
And you're well aware of it.
Those will show up, was what he was saying with the 50-yard runs.
Wasn't it Saquon on one of the sidelines like, it's coming, and you still can't stop it?
I know. Able to stop it just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So, yeah, that was the head coach, Nick Sirianni. We'll continue to react to that. Just a lot. A lot of talking with him, and he did get into the tush push, and I do want to give a nice audio breakdown of where we've been tush push wise this week, just to go through all that we've heard about it. Man, good to hear from Sirianni. Glad he's feeling better.
Yes, he had been under the weather.
Yes, so he sounded good there. The cough there at the end, but mostly made it through like the 20 minutes of talking. If he had spent maybe a little less time saying I can't speak enough about the offensive line, and then giving us anecdotes where he can talk about the offensive line enough, maybe he would have gotten out of that press conference unscathed there. But we'll continue to react to it coming up. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn, Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a Birds Insider Update on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I'm Austin Jones with your Birds Insider Update. The Eagles sit 2-0 through the first 2 weeks of the NFL season and atop the NFC East. They've done it by winning the turnover battle and playing great defense. Notice how I did not say led by the offense, and that's the main topic at this time about the 2025 Eagles. When will the offense come to life and lead the charge against their opponents? Well, Kevin Patullo spoke to the media yesterday about the offense, and one thing he does not want to do was force plays within the game.
Well, I think there's a fine line, right? Because you don't want everyone to put the quarterback in harm's way. Because if you do that and the protection doesn't hold up or it doesn't add up to what they're doing, you could have a catastrophic problem, right? And that was one of those games we knew, right? Both offenses were it was a tough game for both of us. So if you put somebody in harm's way and kind of say, I'm taking a huge chance right here, that negative play could be a major issue and really could be the deciding factor in the game.
Later today, the Eagles will practice at 3:05, and Jalen Hurts is set to speak to the media around 4:50. This Birds Insider Update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of an iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer today. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Not going to say Jalen Hurts doesn't have to play a little bit better. Of course he does.
He did not have his greatest game.
Yeah, of course.
First half.
Yeah, of course he does. Of course Kevin Patullo has to evolve the offense a little bit more. Of course you want to see them take some shots down the field more. But this team does find ways to win games, and that's important. And again, we're not saying this about a team that wasn't extremely successful last year. You're talking about a team now that has won how many straight games? Was it like 18 out of their last 19? And the only game they lost was when Jalen Hurts goes out with a concussion in the first half. Like, at what point do we start to just trust and say, you know what, this Philadelphia Eagles team does what they have to do. No matter what, they know how to win football games.
I think I've gotten to that point with this team. I believe that this team is the best team in football every time they step out on the field. Why do you think you're getting this type of effort against other teams? Because they know that. They know that if they go on the field and half-ass it, they're going to get wiped right off of that field.
Let me give you a little Sirianni love.
Oh, boy.
Because
Knew
with that win yesterday, Nick Sirianni improved his record to 50-20. That's a winning percentage of .714, which leapfrogged George Allen. He now has the second highest winning percentage all time, only behind John Madden.
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
Is that pretty good?
Pretty
So
damn
much
good.
man.
You know what? I mean, think about his whole time period here. He comes out with the fertilizer at first. Nobody believes in him. Now all of a sudden, take a look around. Take a look around at Eagles fans and ask them if they believe in Nick Sirianni. There is no other answer. The answer is yes.
You would hope.
And the one thing that kind of sits on me is that I look at the players and listen to what the players say. The players all love them.
Yeah,
name a player who is, you know what? They went through that hell 2 years ago. How many players stuck up for Sirianni? Almost all of them, if not all of them.
Yeah, he seems to be liked by the players, and all he does is win. I mean, it's very similar to Jalen Hurts. Both of them have their critics. Both of them have people who didn't believe in them and maybe still want to fight back every chance they get. But you talk about a quarterback and a head coach that win more than anybody. Not going to say Jalen Hurts doesn't have to play a little bit better. Of course he does.
He did not have his greatest game.
Yeah, of course.
No, first half.
Yeah, of course he does. Of course Kevin Patullo has to evolve the offense a little bit more. Of course you want to see them take some shots down the field more. But this team does find ways to win games, and that's important. And again, we're not saying this about a team that wasn't extremely successful last year. You're talking about a team now that has won how many straight games? Was it like 18 out of their last 19? And the only game they lost was when Jalen Hurts goes out with a concussion in the first half. Like, at what point do we start to just trust and say, you know what, this Philadelphia Eagles team does what they have to do, no matter what? They know how to win football games.
I think I've gotten to that point with this team. I believe that this team is the best team in football every time they step out on the field. Why do you think you're getting this type of effort against other teams? Because they know that. They know that if they go on the field and half-ass it, they're going to get wiped right off of that field.
Let me give you a little Sirianni love.
Oh, boy.
Because
Knew
with that win yesterday, Nick Sirianni improved his record to 50-20. That's a winning percentage of .714, which leapfrogged George Allen. He now has the second highest winning percentage all time, only behind John Madden.
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
Is that pretty good?
Pretty
So
damn
much
good.
You know what? I mean, think about his whole time period here. He comes out with the fertilizer at first. Nobody believes in him. Now all of a sudden, take a look around. Take a look around at Eagles fans and ask them if they believe in Nick Sirianni. There is no other answer. The answer is yes.
You would hope.
And the one thing that kind of sits on me is that I look at the players and listen.
Brought to you by Service First HVAC, offering 0% financing for 48 months, rebates and tax credits up to $4,300 when purchasing a heating and cooling system. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn, taking you through the midday show today. Just heard from the head coach, Nick Sirianni. And it's funny. We got our takeaways from it, but sometimes I love just the side conversation that comes out of it.
Yes.
And, the I can't speak enough, or him talking about his brother, all those things end up being fun fodder. But what he got into in that presser, not very different from what he talked about Monday. Not that a lot's changed from Monday to today, aside from what you heard from the coordinators yesterday. Like, for the reporters, there has been this massive breakout. Again, the talk this week has been heavy Tush push and heavy Eagles offense. But it prompted a question, and the predictability thing was what stuck out to me because I wanted to hear him try to address it. And they keep saying we're self-scouting and we're figuring these things out.
I heard that same phrase from Petullo.
Yeah. So, they're tied at the hip here. They know exactly what they're doing. But I got a text from one of my best friends growing up. We appreciate you, our friend West Coast Sean, who sometimes chimes in on our YouTube. And texted me last night. I didn't see it last night, where he was talking about the predictability. He was like, I better hear you talk about this tomorrow. I love when I get that text, too. I
You
do
better
love
say it. Just like John Kincade with the Schefter. You guys better talk about that.
So I guess I do that to the other people at the station.
Well, you have to. Sometimes.
But, I love that from my buddies who would be like, you better be addressing this on the air. I'm like, yeah, probably it'll come up. And he texted me about the predictability, and he's like, you better be talking about this tomorrow. And I brought it up. He just texted me. And he's like, I feel like they have to get beat for them to really adjust and really fix what's happening offensively and to really adjust with where their approach is offensively. And it's an interesting thought because it's such a dueling world of the two things that you and I have talked about this week, where Monday we come in, spend a lot of time talking about that offense. Today we come in, Rich Eisen says they're invincible, and it's like, yeah, they didn't even lose that game with their offense.
Right.
If it's not broke, don't fix it idea doesn't necessarily apply here, but when would you expect to see a more aggressive Eagles approach? If not, as a result of things not going their way.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's week one, I think we all kind of looked at it like, okay, you hear all the talk outside of like, well, it's almost like an extension of the preseason just because they don't play the preseason. So it's like, okay, so maybe you throw that out the window. You didn't see it against the Cowboys. You didn't see it against the Chiefs because you heard a lot about, well, it just wasn't there. They were blitzing a lot. We're risk averse. We're not going to do it. Kevin Petullo said 2 different times yesterday we're not going to have these explosive plays, these deep balls at the expense of possibly turning it over. So there was genuinely a real fear, clearly, against the Chiefs that you could have turned the ball over and it would have made them pay, which I totally get because turnovers are the great equalizer. And in that game, you turn the ball over one time, Chiefs did, you lose the game.
Right.
But now, okay, you got you're always going to find a reason to not probably do it.
Right.
So do you just rip the Band-Aid off? Or do you just keep it all bottled up?
Yeah, like, are we going to get the Giants game? Is this what you all want to see?
October 26th. I'm going to go to that game, I think. So.
October 9th.
Oh, in
you keep discounting the one up there in Jersey.
Well, I just kind of overlooked it.
Yeah, well, I'm not overlooking it because there's going to be a conflict that night.
There's going to be a conflict that night. There's a lot going on that day.
NLDS Game 4. Well, maybe they'll just win in 3. And
if necessary.
Yeah,
I can't believe you didn't give me the if necessary.
Yeah, No, I mean, they're not losing again. Phillies might not lose again. So there's just a world where that game doesn't happen. And we're just like, all right, we celebrate NLDS Game 3.
It could be Game 4 of the NLDS, and it's a Flyers game. No, it is, correct?
Sure.
No, it's something else.
It might be.
I mean, it's not the Flyers haven't season has started. I knew if it was a preseason.
Yeah, but my calendar right now has the Eagles and Phillies loaded in. I've not yet gotten to winter sports mode.
Well, that's not. If anything, it would be a preseason.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's not on the calendar right now.
Okay, got it.
But the idea is when would they have to look in the mirror and say, let's change things? And I don't think they've reached that spot because they do have this kind of air of invincibility about them. They won a game throwing for 100 yards.
Definitely locked in.
You got
to.
I work for NBC Sports Philadelphia. I look at my work schedule.
Why does that pop up? I just knew it popped up for.
I know it's going to be difficult
it's on
for me
road,
to get to Xfinity Mobile Arena where I work.
It is on the road. Luckily, it is on the road for the preseason.
Wow, all 3 on the road that night because the Phillies would
that would be
a road playoff game.
if
Eagles on the
necessary.
road, Flyers on the
It'd
road.
be easy to get to work that day. But yeah, to answer your question, I would think, honestly, I kind of understood after listening to Kevin Patullo yesterday, I understood the nature, and I think you hit the nail on the head earlier in the week when Jalen Hurts is very risk averse. But I think that if it's not now, when? Do you wait until you have a completely inferior opponent to really try to air it out? I remember last year, it was right before the Steelers game, and A.J. Brown hadn't gotten the touches, and there was so much talk, and I remember thinking, like, oh, is this the game you really want to air it out against? And they did, and it worked out just fine. So I remember having, like, some trepidation.
Well, that's what I thought this week was going to be, where it's like, why don't you air it out? That's what makes me wonder. Like, we'll be risk averse. We're just going to be turnover averse, and that's the way we'll live our lives till the end. I don't know. I'm curious for people. When do you think that they would actually go about, like, when do you sound the alarm of, yes, we need to change? Because they're not going to sound that alarm at 2-0, nor should they. They shouldn't be out here right now saying, we have to change.
No.
It's up to us, you and I.
We have to.
Austin.
You change. If I can change, you can change.
Yeah, we have to be the ones advocating for change.
We can change.
The status quo must go. I
was trucking along with you for a second until that.
But we're the ones that have talked about it because they're not going to say verbatim that. Like that's not. They're not going to say that what they're doing isn't working because they're 2-0, and that's their goal. They want to win.
The game plan, the self-scouting shows that they can do all of these things. They look at it. They look for the opportunities, but they're not going to do it to the detriment of creating any kind of issue as far as turning the ball over.
Now,
I mean, I don't think anybody, unless it's a Hail Mary, you don't ever plan to turn the ball over.
No.
You just think it's a little bit
Patrick
less.
Mahomes started through a touchdown pass. Next thing you know, Makupa's running down the sideline.
It's true. Facts.
Was that risk averse? Was that a risky throw?
He's not risk averse. Mahomes is not risk averse.
Well, I'm saying that wasn't a crazy risky throw. It was just a throw that ended up in a turnover. Whatever. I'm not going. From issues with the offense to issues people have with Major League Baseball. I want to kind of go into a general baseball conversation. We'll come back. We know where the postseason setup is. We can continue to go through the different pictures. But is baseball lacking something because of the changes that they made? Or will we find something to complain about? John Boy got in this conversation a little bit, and it made me question my viewpoint on it because I've talked to my friends a couple times about this. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn, taking through middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies came back last night to beat the Dodgers 9-6 as they took the series. And they also took the season series against L.A. Rafael Marchand hit a 3-run home run in the ninth inning to put the Phillies up, and Johan Duran came in to close the door. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo is on the mound for the sweep. First pitch is set for 10-10. During the Chiefs game, Ricky Andrew Makuba made the play of the game with his red zone interception. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio spoke yesterday to the media about the play from the rookie.
Yeah, he had some really nice plays. You know, the two you're alluding to, obviously. Did a good job when we brought him on the one pressure. I thought he had some really, really nice plays, and then some other ones that we got to eliminate, too.
Last night, the Union fell to Nashville SC 3-1 in the U.S. Open Cup semifinal. They'll be back on Saturday at 2:30 to face the New England Revolution. This update's brought to you by Bet365. Football is back. Get ready for the season at Bet365. When it comes to sports books, Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best sports coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
How much were you shocked or maybe surprised by how Fangio attacked the Chiefs defensively and how Spagnuolo attacked the Eagles?
I was really impressed and taken aback a little bit by how Vic Fangio approached that game, because he didn't send a single blitz in Super Bowl 59, and I believe according to True Media there was 11 blitzes on Sunday, so they were a lot more aggressive than they have been traditionally. And I think when you know that Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a lot of optionality in terms of the passing game, that's where you're able to sell out and be a little bit more confident in that, and then let your players rally to the football and clean up. They also had really good rush discipline in the second half, especially because early on Patrick Mahomes their primary source of offense was him picking up yards with his legs. But and then for Spagnuolo, just aggressive. I thought that his defense really pinned their ears back and got after the Eagles quite a bit. And from a pass blocking perspective, I thought there were moments that the Eagles' offensive line gave him a lot of time. There were 4 or 5 seconds that Jalen Hurts was standing back there. But then there were other moments where I thought that the Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo dialed it up correctly. But, yeah, it was a good chess match.
Did you feel the absence of Dallas Goedert yesterday?
Definitely. Absolutely. I mean, on the first play of the game, Leo Chenal, the linebacker for Kansas City, gets off the edge. Calcaterra whiffs on the block. He doesn't get a hand on him and gets to Jalen Hurts. And, I mean, Kylan Granson, I didn't think that – he's not an inline blocker. That's really not what he's here to do. But he saw that the Eagles played a lot of 12 personnel, and then Cameron Latu was in for about 6 plays. He was way more effective in that area. But you definitely felt the impact from Dallas Goedert, especially as a blocker, but also in the early stages of that game where I thought the Eagles were trying to force some things down the field and not necessarily take what was being given to them. That's where those short dump-offs, those intermediate completions to Dallas Goedert really settles that offense in and gets them headed in the right direction.
Welcome back. 1 o'clock hour here on 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. And we've done a lot of Eagles conversation in the last hour because, well, we had the head coach talk for about 20 minutes, and we learned they're trying to figure it out. That's what we learned. That's the big takeaway.
Still a work in progress.
Yeah.
A lot of things are a work in progress.
A lot of things.
Great shape. Conditioning is a work in progress.
Yes.
The team offense is the work in progress. It's week 2. I'll let it go.
Okay, you can let it go. I will ask questions.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. The Jaylen, I didn't expect him to do anything but show love to Jaylen Carter. I think that we have officially acknowledged that there is a good cop, bad cop thing here going on, where I think Fangio is a little bit more disciplined and Sirianni's more the, hey, I'm going to love you up and make sure that you feel like you're all is well here. which is fine. And it fits the two of their personalities perfectly.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So it's Sirianni.
Yeah. Fangio starts talking about you.
I've long said this about Rob Thompson, where if you expect firecrackers out of a candle, you're just wrong. Like he's a candle. That's who he is. He's just there, more soothing, calm. He's not going to be the firecracker. He's not going to be the one that just loses his mind. Sirianni is absolutely a firecracker, but also I think his personality with his players is to show love to them, and I almost think it would be jarring to see Sirianni have the response that you would expect from the disciplinarian.
From like a Fangio type.
Yeah.
Just to really call a guy out on the carpet.
Right.
We expect more from this. Oh my gosh, Dad's disappointed.
Yeah, it's like whoa. I'm sure he calls people out all the time. That's part of what they talk about doing, but I think it's definitely in a different type of way than what maybe we would expect from the movie understanding of what goes inside those four walls. But I want to get to baseball for a second here, because as we're watching the end of the season, I think we've done it quite a bit on this program, and both of you have been around enough of me rolling this middays program to acknowledge the postseason chase in baseball. I think I have dove into it quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, just looking at what could happen to the Mets, what could happen buy-wise, where do the Phillies stand? So I'm intrigued by it, the end of the regular season. But there's a legitimate question with these 6 playoff spots, what it does to this last 2 weeks in September. And I'm curious to get people's feelings on this. And it's something that I've talked about with friends over the last couple of weeks, but I saw John Boy talking with Aaron Boone as they do their, I think, weekly hit. Again, sorry, it's the Mets. It's the Yankees. It's New York. It's all the same to me.
Close enough.
Yeah, I'm not tapped in, so I think it's every week. But John Boy had this to say during the back and forth about the extra wild card teams and what the wild card series do to baseball.
I just needed that because I'm going to take it to the league when I tell them that no one gives a crap about the 3 wild cards and it's a boring end of season product for the fans. I want more stakes so teams are taking those games. I'm not mad at the managers at all. I just want the league to implement more drama down the stretch.
Is there enough drama with the end of the baseball season?
I still think there's some drama. I get what he's saying. Sometimes it's a foregone conclusion, and you have teams that are not, playing. They're more like playing out the string. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think it creates drama down for the teams fighting for those bottom spots. So maybe it's not the last day of the season, like that one year where the Rockies had that one playoff or whatever, but they have a one extra game. They
yeah. Well, now game 163, they've taken that from us too. Right. Don't even start with me.
Exactly, which I did enjoy, but because it rarely comes down to that very last game. I know they'd love for it to, but it does come back down to the last couple games, and there's teams that are fighting for those spots. I think that makes it a little bit interesting.
Right. I just think back, and this is maybe my childhood getting in the way here. Someone's be upset that I say my childhood and then reference this team. 2007. I know what I did to myself right there.
Childhood.
That Phillies team, though, you think about that race to the end of September and what it meant. In the current postseason format, you know what the Mets do after game 162? All right, boys.
Yep.
Time to regroup. In fact, they would have ended up taking on the Cubs, I believe, and what would have been I think that would have ended up being the 3-6 wild card matchup. Amazingly, the Phillies would have been a 2 seed that year. Only one team won 90 games, technically, in the 162 season, because the Rockies ended up winning 90 with the game 163. The Diamondbacks were the only team that won 90 games in the 162 that year in the National League. Just fascinating for me to see. But that drama down the stretch doesn't exactly exist right now. And I say this, could you imagine right now, Dodgers-Padres, 2-game difference in the division.
Yep.
With the way the Cubs are playing right now, if it was back in that 4-team format, one of the Dodgers and the Padres would be going home.
Which is crazy.
You think about what the Padres did at the deadline. To go all in, to buy.
And they would just sail off into Cancun sunset.
Yeah, see ya. That's it. The Diamondbacks sold at the deadline, and we were talking about them overtaking the Mets for the last wild card spot. Same Diamondbacks team that had 84 wins and went to a World Series. And I get it. I'm also arguing a little bit against what happened to the Phillies in 2022. I have to be grateful for what this format's given me as a Phillies fan. because that 2022 season you don't get 2020.
You don't get it.
Yeah, like you don't
Doesn't
get
happen.
it. Doesn't happen to. I got it.
Which was amazing. So you got to take the good with the bad there, Ray.
I understand. I'm just curious for people with regards to the general baseball drama down the stretch. There's not a lot here right now because you got a 12.5 game lead in your division. You already clinched your division. And right now we're talking about the top seed, and that's like what you're chasing. I think the bye has created a little bit of that dynamic, but I always understand somebody's nostalgia of like, oh, what if they had the format right before? And I like this format, but I do think it's like a little part of me is like, yeah, I think that West Division, I'd be like really excited to see what would happen. I'd be really excited down the stretch to figure that out.
Do you decide that year by year, though, because of that?
Well, that's the thing. And that's why I'm more curious to open it up because I know I've been grateful for what this format's given me in the 2022 Phillies season, which means I don't think I can openly campaign against it. I don't think I can join John Boy in that campaign. And also, I think he'll be singing a different tune if the Yankees end up with the 5 or the 6 seed. I think he'll be like, whoa, this is actually not too bad. You know, you got to give him an opportunity. Because if you look in the American League, and this goes to the point of what we're talking about right now, that AL West is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that AL West is interesting to the idea of, again, if the season ended, one of the Mariners or Astros are not a postseason team. Instead of what it's going to be of
Mariners.
Yeah.
He joined Ken Griffey doing stuff like but it happens. That's how it.
And that's how it happened before. And I'm just so curious for people if you have that nostalgia for a more condensed postseason, because I hear it, and I've gone back and forth with friends of like, would there be more excitement added, or is the more excitement you get in the postseason of one of these teams that was, you know, kind of dancing around there during the season, the Phillies backed their way in 2022, upsetting one of these teams, is it better for the sport? And I'm curious how people feel about that at 610-632-0975, because I think my gratitude to what this format did for me might cloud a little bit about what it does for the sport.
Because otherwise you wouldn't have some of the joy that you've experienced in Red October because of that.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just curious for people. I'm just curious if people are nostalgia for that format. Because I heard him say it, and I was like, I don't think it's bad, and I don't think he'll be saying it's bad in 2 weeks when the Yankees end up the 5 seed. But I could see how people feel a certain type of way.
I get it. And also, sometimes I think there is the worry that it could be a watered down product in the playoffs because of that. You've let in teams that are middling. Now, that's not always the case because sometimes there's teams that are exceptionally deserving. 2022, Phillies being a prime example and what the run that they went on. But people might say the way that they floundered at the end.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
They don't get to get in.
Here's a very dark thought. If the Mets make their way in and find the rhythm in October, would we be saying the same thing? Right? Because they played this terrible for so long. I don't think they are going to be able to.
Well, last year
flip
they
the
were
switch.
on an absolute tear.
Right, but I'm saying like if they were to find it in October with a struggling September, the way the 2022 Phillies found it in October after struggling in September, would we be singing the same tune? That's really what this question's about. And I'm curious how people feel about that. While we're talking about baseball, this Phillies team's been a lot of fun, and I'm like, you know, I've let all kind of inhibition, like I'm all the way in. I've let kind of my entire fear go after watching this team. But there's something else about this team right now that I'm so enjoying. And it's from a sitting on the couch perspective, from a fan perspective that I just love. We'll explain coming up. Alongside Amy Fidula, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Start your morning off right.
When you've seen the first 2 games, and I know you already have done a little pre-scouting, I know who you are, that you look at teams like the Rams and Tampa coming up. What would give you the most sort of early week alarm heading into the Rams game from what you've seen out of the Birds in the first 2 weeks? And what would make you feel really good going into the matchup?
I think the lack of imagination and innovation with the passing game, especially when you're expecting to see some new wrinkles. And again, it's just been 2 games. But when you're going up against the Sean McVay offense that can put up points, and they do have a lot of razzle-dazzle and eye candy, the Eagles have to make sure that they're being a balanced team and they're keeping defenses honest, because eventually, yes, you are winning games, but that will catch up to you. How they're winning isn't necessarily sustainable. You could argue that as long as they protect the football, I guess it is sustainable, but they have to find ways to really advance and move that offense forward. Now, what am I encouraged with, John? I think the development of their younger players on defense, and I'm going to hone in on linebacker Jahad Campbell and safety Drew McCouba.
Yeah.
Andrew's going to need a moment here.
Unleash Campbell is what I was asking for last week, my man.
And he certainly was. I mean, this is a physical player who just attacks that line of scrimmage. He's really comfortable and fluid in space. He looks like a player who's already has a full season under his belt. The way that he's sort of grasped things and adjusted on the fly, I don't think should be understated. And then you have Drew McCouba, who it's very telling when Vic Fangio started him week 1, and despite him not playing a lot in the summer dealing with different injuries, it shows you the confidence and the vision that the Eagles had in him, and that's why they drafted him where they did. This is a playmaker. He's around the football. He's highly intelligent. He's versatile, and he can create different some different personnel groupings on defense because of his versatility. And you saw it manifest, taking the football away and off of Travis Kelce, and really that was the play of the game. Those are two players that just 2 games into their career, I think you have to feel really good about where they are in terms of their development.
Welcome back. Midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn, hanging out with you. Get back to the Phillies banter in just a moment. I want to go to our text line. You know, when Sirianni speaks and there's so much on our mind, sometimes we wander from where the text may be. Austin Jones produced the program. Austin, what do we got on the text line? 610-632-0975.
This is from Kevin. Ray, you can eat chili at any time of the year, just like you can eat ice cream at any time, just not in summer.
Wait.
Not just in the summer is what he meant there.
I was like,
yeah.
You were trucking along, and I was like, but not just in the summer.
So the question I posed right before the 12 o'clock hour was I was having a bit of a conundrum this weekend talking about my roommate makes really good chili. Old roommate was over for the game. We're talking about planning to hang out for another game coming up this season, and the chili came up, and I just felt like it's too early for chili. I feel like maybe we get closer into like the middle of October, then I could start talking about chili during a football game. I think part of the thing is like I remember growing up like the Sunday of chili.
Yeah,
the
it was more like
sun
an
is
event.
kind of set.
Yeah.
By the time I'm eating that chili, you know,
because it's like it's 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's sort of dark outside.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. It is funny how certain food things associate with certain sports, right?
Right.
Like hot dogs and baseball. We all know
Yeah.
that. Of course, for you and I, it's the Italian sausage.
Yes.
The Italian sausage at Citizens Bank Park is top tier.
Which we've talked too much about because the line has gotten longer.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's us.
Never mind.
It's us. It's on us. No, it's too late. The secret's out.
It's such a great
best deal in the ballpark.
But chili does seem to be a football type of vibe. I can't imagine like
chili at a baseball game sounds wrong.
Unless it's on the hot dog, I guess. But even then, I'm like, nah, I'm more of a purist on that. Again, I'm not a hot dog. I'm a Italian sausage. But I don't know. It is weird how like that kind of is correlating with that. But I like chili. I'm whatever our texter said. I can't remember what the name was, but ice cream. I can't think about eating ice cream in the winter, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't do it. It's
See?
just hard to think about.
Kind of coming to my side on that.
I'm not. Chili is
All right.
amazing.
We did have one person say if the forecast still shows that it's like 2 to 3 consecutive days of 80 degrees and above, it's too warm for chili. So
I agree.
We got
That's
some back and
that's a
forth
smart
there.
texter. A very smart texter there.
All right, what else we got here? Derek O in media says, I will give it until week 5 before we know how A.J. Brown will be used. New offensive coordinator, and most offenses didn't even play in the preseason, so they need times to figure this thing out.
Yeah, I think that the more we get into this week, the more the conversation for me is the feel of play calling from Patullo, when to dial things up, what he's seeing in front of him, and the predictability of this offense in conjunction with, hey, Jaylen, are we ever going to try and get aggressive here offensively? Because basically the aggressive shots have been the one to Dotson and then the 2 jump balls to Devontae Smith. It's like, all right, how much more aggressive can we get? Jaylen, how much more comfortable can you feel in this offense to get more aggressive? It's the 2 things in conjunction with one another that I think it's not so much how will AJ be used in this offense, though I think they could diversify his route tree a little bit, even though we know how good he is at slant and, in breaking routes. I think that there's still more left for him there. So I think it's less about the way they're using him and more about just the execution of the offense in general that I had.
Yeah, it was funny. I remember I was on with you when you had Torrey Smith on, and he was talking about like not how hard could it be, meaning like a negative thing. Like it's not that hard to try to get these guys involved because you have some of the most dynamic receivers out there, and you have a guy that can throw them the ball and find them on the field. I think it's really more about unleashing that aspect of it and weighing obviously the sides that Kevin Patullo and now Nick Sirianni have talked about as far as not being too risky with these plays. You have to drop them when you can drop them. You don't want to become too one-dimensional. It's like, oh, all we're going to do is constantly run him on the the X route or whatever. But I feel like, can't you have a certain amount of freelancing out there? I mean, Jalen Hurts has shown that he is capable of doing that. Do those guys kind of have additional meetings? Like, how can we occasionally get out there and I see this, this, and this, and I can freelance, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, the freelance also, like, if they're seeing this much zone, I've seen Devontae Smith sit in the pocket of his own before. Like,
exactly. Just like
it's
hang
not something new. Yeah. So that's something that bothers me here. Now, I mentioned the thing that I'm loving as a fan of this Phillies team. The Chaos Phillies are kind of awesome. Like, I don't want my entire one side of the infield on the injured list. Like, Trey Turner, Alec Boehm, now Edmundo Sosa, all being out is not something I want at all. I will say, it has opened up a wild possibility every day for you to go home and try and make a lineup for.
You're just guessing.
Like, the fact that Harrison Bader is your solidified leadoff hitter, at least for this, 10-game stretch, is hysterical to me. At least for the time while Turner's out. If I had told you the beginning of the season that the lineup, when the Phillies clinched the division, was going to be Harrison Bader leading off in center field, Kyle Schwarber batting second as designated hitter, Bryce Harper at first batting third, JT Realmuto, the catcher, batting fourth, Brandon Marsh in left field batting fifth, Otto Kemp at third base batting sixth, Max Kepler batting seventh in right field, Bryson Stott, the shortstop, batting eighth, and Weston Wilson, the second baseman, batting ninth.
That's the thing. It's just, I remember watching on the celebrations on Monday night / Tuesday morning, and Rob Thompson really hit everything, I think, the right notes, and he was talking about the contributions from the guys from Lehigh. I'm like, that's contributions. Some of those are your everyday players at this point.
Otto Kemp
and Weston Wilson. Otto Kemp was the home run that took the lead on Monday.
4 through 9 yesterday in the lineup that beat the reigning World Series champions.
Remarkable.
Brandon Marsh, Otto Kemp, Max Kepler, Weston Wilson, Bryson Stott, and Rafael Marchand. That was 4 through 9 in the lineup that beat the reigning World Series champs.
One of those guys, everybody went into DFA about a month and a half ago. Another one was not here in Philadelphia because they were at Lehigh Valley. And The other, Brandon Marsh was batting 108 for the first month of the season, and went back down to Lehigh Valley to try to get right.
Yeah. Marsh, there was a number of people that wanted him in AAA just because. Kemp was a guy in AAA that we did a segment for a few weeks there of would it be Kemp or Wilson that gets sent down when Bohm comes back. Kepler, you mentioned it. People want to DFA him. Wilson was the other guy in that segment about who you send down. Bryson Stott, I've been about as critical as the guy as anyone in terms of ability to hit for most of the season. And Marshawn bats like 100. Like, that's the team that beat the Dodgers last night. This is it's
chaos.
It's
fun though
to like try and put this together right now. It's partially because they're winning too. Like if this was miserable, like where they were losing and it looked like that they were going to lose playoff ground, obviously it wouldn't be the same level of fun. But we're going to go back to 2022 September and look at some of those lineups, and it's fun to do.
I've seen those lineups. We have notes in our offices. Sometimes we write down like crazy stuff, and it'll be like the last game of the season. You kind of like commemorate some of those lineups. There are some crazy lineups out there. Guys that are not in baseball anymore.
No, that you just totally forgot. Like
didn't even know they played the game.
That you forgot existed. Like I'm picking a random box score here. Let's go September 17, 2022. Just for fun. Just break down this lineup for me. Honestly, pretty normal lineup. I actually picked a pretty bad day for this. Because Segura's batting 6th, Stott's batting 7th, Nick Maton at 3rd, batting 8th, and then Vierling batting 9th.
Because when they clinched?
No, this was just a random September
day. Or made the postseason?
It was that year, that 2022.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing the lineup on the day that they made the postseason officially, which would have been somewhere in that range.
Yeah, October 3rd was that day. Nola pitched, and the lineup, Schwarber, Hoskins, Harper, Mermuto, Bohm, Castellanos, Marsh, Segura, Stott.
That is a more normal lineup.
Yeah. But like the lineups we could say that this team tried out here in September are peak chaos and peak fun for me. Something I'm not enjoying right now on the other side. This Tom Brady storyline. Dan Orlovsky, I think, spoke to it on ESPN. We're going to play that for you coming up.
We all saw him sitting up there scouting, or at least watching. Well, the thing is, I don't know. I think the verb you use is different. He's obviously watching it, but it's not me watching it. I'm not, 1, part owner of the Raiders, and 2, I did not play football at the highest level, and some people call me the greatest football player of all time. I'm not that person. Don't put that in my mouth. But some people call him maybe the greatest football player of all time. So he's obviously exceptionally competitive and smart when it comes to the game. So he's watching it a much different way, and then he's meeting with.
Right. Orlovsky spoke about it on ESPN. We'll play it for you coming up, and we'll talk about my disdain for the situation we've put ourselves in.
I just have general disdain for Tom, so this will be fun.
Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This is Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Last night, the Phillies came back to beat the Dodgers, and they took the series and the season series against L.A. Rafael Marchand hit a 3-run home run in the top of the 9th inning and put the Phillies up, and Johan Duran came in to close the door. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo is on the mound for the potential sweep. First pitch is set for 10-10. During the Chiefs game, rookie safety Andrew McCuba made the play of the game with his red zone interception. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio spoke to the media yesterday about how the rookie played during the game.
Yeah, he had some really nice plays. The 2 you're alluding to, obviously. Did a good job when we brought him on the 1 pressure. I thought he had some really, really nice plays, and then some other ones that we got to eliminate, too.
Last night, the Union fell to Nashville SC 3-1 in the U.S. Open Cup semifinals. They will be back in action on Saturday at 2:30 to face the New England Revolution. This update is brought to you Bet365. Football is back. Get ready for the season at Bet365 when it comes to sports books. Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Not going to say Jalen Hurts doesn't have to play a little bit better. Of course he does.
He did not have his greatest game.
Yeah, of course.
No, first half.
Yeah, of course he does. Of course Kevin Patullo has to evolve the offense a little bit more. Of course you want to see them take some shots down the field more. But this team does find ways to win games, and that's important. And again, we're not saying this about a team that wasn't extremely successful last year. You're talking about a team now that has won how many straight games? Was it like 18 out of their last 19? And the only game they lost was when Jalen Hurts goes out with a concussion in the first half. Like, at what point do we start to just trust and say, you know what, this Philadelphia Eagles team does what they have to do. No matter what, they know how to win football games.
I think I've gotten to that point with this team. I believe that this team is the best team in football every time they step out on the field. Why do you think you're getting this type of effort against other teams? Because they know that. They know that if they go on the field and half-ass it, they're going to get wiped right off of that field.
Let me give you a little Sirianni love.
Oh, boy.
Because
Knew
with that win yesterday, Nick Sirianni improved his record to 50-20. That's a winning percentage of .714, which leapfrogged George Allen. He now has the second highest winning percentage all time, only behind John Madden.
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
Is that pretty good?
Pretty
So
damn
much
good.
man.
You know what? I mean, think about his whole time period here. He comes out with the fertilizer at first. Nobody believes in him. Now all of a sudden, take a look around. Take a look around at Eagles fans and ask them if they believe in Nick Sirianni. There is no other answer. The answer is yes.
You would hope.
And the one thing that kind of sits on me is that I look at the players and listen to what the players say. The players all love him.
Yeah,
name a player who is, you know what? They went through that hell 2 years ago. How many players stuck up for Sirianni? Almost all of them, if not all of them.
Yeah, he seems to be liked by the players, and all he does is win. I mean, it's very similar to Jalen Hurts. Both of them have their critics. Both of them have people who didn't believe in them and maybe still want to fight back every chance they get. But you talk about a quarterback and a head coach that win more than anybody.
Done this bit on the air before, so it feels wrong to go back to it. You know, it's one of those, like, you already made this joke once in this setting, just move on from it. I just saw something that was very clearly fake online. Amy and I are trying to figure out. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. That it was a national month, and I went to go find the national months, and it's National A Lot of Things Month. National Mortgage Professional Month.
Oh, okay. Happy that to all the mortgage professionals out there.
Yes. National Piano Month. National
Just
Mushroom
for pianos,
Month.
not for people that play the piano.
No, you're celebrating the piano.
Got it.
Piano
Just the
Man
piano.
Month, I believe, is next month.
Got it.
Yes. National Rice Month. I'm big fan of rice. I could have rice at every meal. It made me wildly popular when I went to Costa Rica for 10 days because that was like half my diet while I was down there. Very good. Just in case you were wondering. One thing that this weekend, I don't think I got a chance to. Well, like Monday night happens, the Phillies clinch, the Eagles are 2-0. And I mentioned it briefly yesterday, but I wanted to really rip this apart as someone who enjoys the broadcast industry and really, likes to be able to look at what a broadcast is and everything that goes into it. Tom Brady sitting in the Raiders coaching booth upstairs during their Monday Night Football game following his work Sunday, calling the Eagles game. The NFL sent out a memo this week. I saw Schefter reporting on it that now he's he can't go here, can't go there, can't do that.
He was never allowed to be in those meetings as an owner and a broadcaster.
Well, it seemed like they had lightened that up ahead of this year, and then it took 2 weeks for them to realize he's inside the coaching booth and probably getting information he shouldn't. And Orlovsky, let's play the Orlovsky clip from ESPN of what he had to say about Tom Brady, and then I'll give my own just spin on the Tom Brady thing. Here's Dan Orlovsky talking about the Brady situation while on ESPN.
I think it only impacts his ability to call a game. I don't think it brings integrity into the equation. In those meetings, it's about relationships. Like, if you know coaches and or players really well and you've built that relationship, you can get some good information about maybe what the plan is versus a defense in that game or what you have to be protective against or kind of what's been a focus point for your individual process or team. But you're not really getting... Now, if you don't have a great relationship with those guys, sometimes they might be a little bit tighter, and I think that's a very natural thing. So I don't think that Tom's gathering this, season-changing information that he's going to be able to acquire to bring back to the Raiders that's going to help them win a game 3 or 4 weeks down the road. Do I think it could potentially impact his ability to call a game? Sure. He's also the greatest quarterback of all time. So.
And respectfully to Dan Orlovsky, who I think does a tremendous job, and we've had him on the air a number of times on this station. What are you talking about, man? Yeah. Maybe he's not getting the exact saving grace for the Raiders organization in those meetings.
Do you think that he's not getting any information? Then you've clearly never been in any of those. Dan Orlovsky, I would think, has been in them. So he knows you're getting something.
You're getting something. And you're getting, hey, this is how we have the answer against what they're doing here. This is what we're trying to do to have the response here. If I walk into a meeting with Tom Brady, a production meeting, and I am any coach, quarterback, someone involved with a team that's not the Raiders, I'm not saying anything. I will say very little to Tom Brady when it comes to this, knowing his connection to the Raiders. I have the Raiders on my schedule, and Tom Brady's in that room.
What am I going to talk about? I'm giving you exactly what I give during my press conference during the media.
Yeah.
During the media availability. That's what I'm giving you. But these meetings are designed to give you a little extra nuance, a little extra insight of, hey, sometimes we run this and sometimes. And the thing is, there's going to be the devil's advocate on the other side is, well, Tom Brady would see it anyway because he's so smart and knows all. Yeah, but he might, but he's going to ask about what he saw.
Is all of this worth having Tom Brady in the media scene for the NFL?
I don't think it is.
I don't think so. I'll be honest with you. It's not that he is a bad analyst. I don't think he's bad at his job. I think he's gotten better at it since he started. Yeah. I thought the first couple games, I was like, ooh, but again, those are the first couple games. I'm sure people would watch games that I do would be the first couple times, be like, ooh, maybe there's things to grow on. I think that's natural for anyone that's in
I thought
any
Greg
profession.
Olsen was better.
I think Greg Olson's tremendous. Greg Olsen keeps doing this campaign. I love it. I go back to it because I always think the late night wars are funny. Like the Jay Leno, like don't blame Conan. Like when nobody in the world's blaming Conan.
Yeah, exactly. They're not.
Greg Olson's
they're
whole
blaming you, Jay.
Yeah, Greg Olson's whole I could succeed otherwise. It's okay. Like as if everyone else isn't also saying that Greg Olsen can succeed not being in the top booth. He's like, no, it's all right. I'll be okay. Everyone's like, yes, we know you're going to be okay. We're trying to advocate for you. Stop. Like, he keeps saying, well, Tom Brady doesn't have to fail for me to succeed. It's like, yes, we all know that. You can succeed. You can win an Emmy. Like, you keep saying this, it has no meaning. Because no one's arguing the other side of this.
They're not saying no.
Yes. No one's like, actually, you can't succeed. Like, I'm sure as soon as his contract's up, someone's going to want to snatch him up to be their top analyst. He's good at what he does. Was it worth demoting him, having to deal with this conflict of interest, and having this be the storyline around Tom Brady for the NFL. Now, you could say to me, Ray, anything's worth it for the NFL. They're king. And I'll agree with you on that the NFL could do whatever they want. And what? Am I really going to sit here and not watch the NFL because I think the Tom Brady thing is a conflict of interest? Of course not. The NFL wins every time. That's not what this is about. It's just absurd to me that we are going to spend an entire week about an unfair advantage happening with one play that's 1 yard instead of talking about the unfair advantage it is for a minority owner of a team that was seen inside the coach's box being given access to every single team that he has on his calendar to call games for.
He's in the coach's box. He wasn't there like hanging out in the stands.
What do you think Reed and Mahomes gave him from Kansas City's perspective ahead of that game this weekend? I don't know. They're in the same division as the Raiders. I wouldn't give him anything. I wouldn't want to talk to him at all about anything.
Politely declined.
And I'd like not to say the level of production meetings that they do are similar to production meetings I've sat in for this, but like you know what you're trying to get out of them. You're trying to get a little bit of like, okay, let's peel back the onion here. What are you saying outside these four walls? What are you saying inside these four walls? Let me get to know a little bit about what you're going on, what you have going on with this group, what you're trying to emphasize, where you're trying to. And I could tell you, I always find this funny because I do, a decent amount of college soccer. Last night I did it, and there are certain programs early on in non-conference play that don't do these production calls because they don't have a lot of games televised or otherwise. And these coaches, I had one earlier this very guarded with like, where's this information going?
What are you going to do?
Who are you telling me? Like, what do you? It's like,
I'm not.
This is just background for us to understand what you're trying to do. This is not going to be forwarded to the other coaching staff. This is not going to be forwarded. But think about it.
Whatever you're going to run, they'll see on the game.
Right.
That's it. I'm not calling them ahead of time.
Where the resources are much less than the NFL is that paranoid about resources getting out.
I mean, that's the thing that we've all seen how much, or you haven't, or maybe you didn't realize, when we show like the practice footage that we're allowed to shoot, there's a reason it's a lot of stretching.
Yes.
These guys keep everything very, very close to the chest. They don't reveal a lot of stuff. We all listen to the press conferences. They don't really tell you anything. They give you a little bit of the insight, which is fine. It's still information that's, helpful for our purposes as outsiders. But what you are able to glean from some of these extra meetings, you are looking at it different. You have a different whole show sheet that you're looking from, right? Like a playbook that you can go to. Hey, you guys run this 15% of the time. Why is that?
Right.
And then so when you're using your commentary and you see whatever it is, that let's say it's the slant. Hey, you use that 19% of the time with A.J. Brown. Why do you do that? Hey, well, I was speaking with Nick Sirianni earlier, and he says they run that. They'd actually try to run it 40% of the time, but it's only working 19% of the time. Like stuff like that is extra information. It's great when we listen to, but if you get that ahead of the time, it's obviously something that could be used for your good and the team.
This is why they do it. This is what their thought process is behind it. And here you go.
They would love to do that more, but they can't.
Or hey, I'm not going to use this on the broadcast because we could use this for us later on. This information doesn't need to be public information; it can just be private for us, and we'll use it later. I just think it's a disgrace. I do, and I don't think he's worth it as an analyst for the money they're paying him and for the conflict of interest.
So unnecessary because it's a pretty obvious conflict of interest.
Yeah, I do.
He's literally sitting in the coach's box.
Just my thoughts on this one. Coming up, my thoughts tonight. Phillies go for a sweep out in L.A. Amy, this will be the pregame show for you because
that's right. I will be there pregame.
Yeah, your day is long for being over. I
got 12 more hours.
Yeah, 12 more
13
hours pretty much.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Never know.
Never know. We're close to extras last night. Got extras Monday night. Not trying to speak that into existence for you.
I cannot believe you just said that out loud.
Is Ricky doing the show with you?
Yes, he is. If Ricky heard you, which I don't think he did, he would be storming in right now.
Oh.
He would be storming in.
He's been feisty this week, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's upset with me again. Alongside Amy Fadul, I'm Ray Dunn. This Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
I'm not going to say Jalen Hurts doesn't have to play a little bit better. Of course he does.
He did not have his greatest game.
Yeah, of course.
First half.
Yeah, of course he does. Of course Kevin Patullo has to evolve the offense a little bit more. Of course you want to see them take some shots down the field more. But this team does find ways to win games, and that's important. And again, we're not saying this about a team that wasn't extremely successful last year. You're talking about a team now that has won how many straight games? Was it like 18 out of their last 19? And the only game they lost was when Jalen Hurts goes out with a concussion in the first half. Like, at what point do we start to just trust and say, you know what, this Philadelphia Eagles team does what they have to do, no matter what? They know how to win football games.
I think I've gotten to that point with this team. I believe that this team is the best team in football every time they step out on the field. Why do you think you're getting this type of effort against other teams? Because they know that. They know that if they go on the field and half-ass it, they're going to get wiped right off of that field.
Let me give you a little Sirianni love.
Oh, boy.
Because
Knew
with that win yesterday, Nick Sirianni improved his record to 50-20. That's a winning percentage of .714, which leapfrogged George Allen. He now has the second highest winning percentage all time, only behind John Madden.
I'm the smartest coach in the world.
Is that pretty good?
Pretty
So
damn
much
good.
You know what? I mean, think about his whole time period here. He comes out with the fertilizer at first. Nobody believes in him. Now all of a sudden, take a look around. Take a look around at Eagles fans and ask them if they believe in Nick Sirianni. There is no other answer. The answer is yes.
You would hope.
And the one thing that kind of sits on me is that I look at the players and listen to what the players say. The players all love him.
Yeah,
name a player who is, you know what? They went through that hell 2 years ago. How many players stuck up for Sirianni? Almost all of them, if not all of them.
Yeah, he seems to be liked by the players, and all he does is win. I mean, it's very similar to Jalen Hurts. Both of them have their critics. Both of them have people who didn't believe in them and maybe still want to fight back every chance they get. But you talk about a quarterback and a head coach that win more than anybody.
Welcome back. Midday show, final segment here. Unfiltered coming your way at 2 o'clock. Ricky Metallico, Bill Colarulo, Silvana Kelleher. Phillies tonight.
Late night.
Looking for the sweep, late night. Yeah, there's no way that this could have been played at 4.
Why would you have a
played
getaway
at
day?
7. No reason.
No need for a getaway day.
For that.
That's all right. Stay up late with us. Finish it out.
Yeah.
Off day tomorrow and then Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona on Friday. Wow. Friday. Jeez. I'm just in my head. This works out nicely. The Thursday off because then Friday there is I'd love to talk Phillies. We just get to go full bore into Eagles, Rams, which, by the way, at least Philadelphia coming out with an even record against LA this week. At the very least.
At the very least.
Obviously, the one on Sunday is going to carry a little bit more weight than the one tonight, just because you've already taken the series, and the one on Sunday is one of 17. But
you took the series in an incredible 2 games.
Yeah.
Two incredibly entertaining.
Which leads me to tonight. You are most certainly rooting against any sort of the theatrics that we've seen in the last couple nights, just for your own sanity and sleep schedule.
Just make it a nice, calm, cool, collected lead, well in hand by the 6th inning type of vibe is really more what I'm looking at.
It's interesting, the pitching setup that we've had for this series for the Phillies, because there's a chance that all three lefties that you would throw in a series against them, they all got to look at.
Yes.
And Christopher Sanchez was human in the hangover game, gave up a home run, but ultimately to get 7 out of him.
I love the hangover game.
Yeah,
getting 7 out of him is pretty good.
Right. 7 innings, 4 runs. Like, you kind of put the game at the hands of your offense. Like, we kind of need you to come through here. And Ohtani, for 5 innings, tremendous. I still can't believe Dave Roberts did what he did, but it's
I get
not
why
my
he
problem.
did it, but, like, I'm also very happy he did it.
Right, yeah, thank you for that.
So Donnie.
You go back to Monday night. Like, now it's interesting just to see how Luzardo will fare tonight so we could get a look at least what the Phillies pitching against this Dodgers lineup can be, given the postseason. Because the Dodgers lineup has slowly started to wake up a little bit. They've started to find a little bit of who they are.
A little bit.
Their bullpen still stinks. But they found a little bit of who they are in the lineup. Teoscar Hernandez has found a little bit of who he is.
I mean, they've got two.
Otani's always Otani.
Yeah. That's the thing is,
Freeman's Freeman.
they're all
Betts has been had a tough year, but
then all of a sudden he'll hit home. It's just
Right.
that team is
Yeah, they are what they are. But excited to watch tonight, too. We get out of this one this evening. Bob in West Philly wanted to get on with a question. Talk about this Chaos Phillies, their lineup. Bob, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, Ray. Hey, Amy. How you guys doing?
Hey,
Big
Bob.
fans of the show.
Appreciate
I
that.
just had a question. So, once Trey gets back, I was wondering how the lineup would look when, since Bader's doing so good. You think they keep him? They could keep him 1-2 with Turner and.
Probably not, but there's a question in my mind of whether or not he could stick at 4.
I know. I just held it up, Bob. You can't hear it because I held it up as soon as you started asking that question, and I knew Ray was going to say it. I think you still put him back at 6, but because of the way that he was helping everybody hit at 7, 8, and 9. But I've heard people say maybe you put him at 4 at cleanup. Right now, I think you would probably go Real Muto back in the 4 spot, and then Marsh, who's been hitting well, at 5, and then Bader at 6. For me,
And
but Ray might disagree with that one.
Is there also a world where we're talking about Bowman hitting like 8th in a postseason
There's
line?
absolutely a world that could happen.
Oh, yeah.
There's a world where Max
Yeah, I
Kepler
mean,
could be batting 8th, and Bohm is like, you get the night off. I'm kidding, but maybe not really.
Where are you putting him in
Yeah,
this
I mean,
lineup?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't hate seeing him in the 2 spot or with Trey and Bader both up there. I mean, Bader's just been so hot. Get a couple more runners on for Schwarber or Harper. I mean, I wouldn't hate it, but I could definitely see him going down to a 5 or 6 hole. Maybe or Marsh there too. I mean, they've all been so good out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're looking at a lineup that's just delivered so much to you.
And it's crazy because not that long ago it was, who's going to be possibly batting here, and here. I like the idea of having Bader in a spot to be on base for Kyle Schwarber. I get that idea. You're not going to move Harper off of 3, though, so that's kind of where that's his sweet spot. And then the other thought would be you move him to 4 for Harrison Bader in that case.
You might.
I mean, listen, he's been swinging a hot bat. He certainly is one of the key cogs to make this offensive engine work. But I don't know that I can put him at cleanup. I just don't know. I don't know if I can do it there, Raimundo.
Well, I had actually argued against one of a good friend listening to the program, Ari, had texted me the day that Bader actually batted leadoff the first time. And it was before the lineup came out. He was like, you think they go leadoff? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I like him in a little bit lower leverage spot in the lineup. This season, I think he legitimately had like 1 or 2 at-bats as a leadoff hitter. And I was like, I don't think I would put that on him right now, given the fact that you've got someone that's experienced at doing it, Schwarber, or, that was the day after they went bleep you, like we're going to go analytics here with Harper.
Straight up.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if they'll do that to him. And he's been able to answer the bell there. And I'm just thinking about the way he sells out for power, that, like, if you put him at 4, he is such an incredible story in the way that he's been able to reshape what he is offensively. Like, he basically was like, you know what, screw it. Like, I'm just going to pull the ball, and I'm just going to sell out for power, and that's going to make me so much more valuable as an offensive weapon.
Because if you look at some of his stats in the previous season, certainly you can go back to even last year with the Mets, they were not good.
No, it was not an offensive-driven player. He has always been able to have a job because of his glove. A year
Now it's
ago,
just like, I'm going to sell out for this.
yeah. I'll be honest with you, this will be the second softball reference we put out there today. But like you made the joke of me being a power hitter earlier. Like I've watched, like, because I'm very intrigued
You do
into
hit
the
home
way.
runs, though.
I'm intrigued into the way that guys take their approach at the plate and like make adjustments to their swing. Like I know last night I was listening on the drive home from the game I called, and they're talking about the way Schwarber got rid of the twirl in his bat and what earlier in his career, and that has allowed him a little bit better timing wise. And you go into watching Harrison Bader, and you just see how pronounced that loading step is.
I mean, it
and
is
how
like, especially when you take that side ankle that instead
Right.
of like the full on, but you take it from the side. If you watch a lot of baseball stances, like that is an impressive stance.
Right.
The load.
And that
weight
lets you
shift,
get to
is.
and that again with the way that he's
I
just
wouldn't
trying to
recommend
pull
that
the
for
ball
people
with power.
trying to
Well, that's
mimic that.
That's what I've
be tough.
legitimately tried to.
Well, that's why you're hitting home runs now.
But it's more. It was like a case study for me because, like, again, anyone that's ever met me is like, that my physique is not one of a powerful stance. Like that is not. I do not exude like, oh, that guy's got power to him like that.
Back up, everyone.
I think that like I just wanted to see because I was watching him like how narrow he gets in that loading step to then just unleash that step forward is so intriguing to me, and it's worked out for him in such a tremendous way that it's like, how is he pulling that off?
And he does. I think wherever he hits, the good news is wherever he hits in the lineup, he will be able to produce. And I think that's the most important thing. I think it's always going to be an adjustment when you move guys up and down the lineup. But I feel like for him, like you said, when you saw him at leadoff, I don't know, is that going to be fine? He's been absolutely fine with it. He's been raking just like he was at the 6th spot. So I do like him a little bit further down because of like the way that it sets up the 6, 7, 8, and 9. I know someone just out there says like 6, 7. I get it, kids. I know. I understand. I said it all together, though, at the same numbers. 6, 7, 8, 9. This is what happens when you're on too much on social media.
Yeah, people are too online. I was gonna let it go. I wasn't gonna say anything.
It's all one word. It's all. I'm naming all of the numbers.
There was actually a side story I was going to get into today that I thought was. I saw that our guy Colby on the YouTube was on jury duty yesterday, and I saw a story in the Inquirer today about like how much trouble can you get in for not going to jury duty.
You can't actually.
But like how much do they enforce it was more the story. Like how deep is Philadelphia in terms of
They're
enforcing
gonna come out
that
to
stuff.
fine you.
Which I have an incredible jury duty story that someone that used to live at my old apartment, had their jury duty notice delivered to us, and it involved trying to get in touch with that person. I had that in the back pocket today if we got into it. Unfortunately, with just so little time left in the show,
couldn't.
Maybe tomorrow.
All right, I'll be back tomorrow.
I don't know. I got to debate whether or not it's okay, share all on air. But maybe tomorrow.
You said it.
Maybe tomorrow. We got to get out of here. Unfiltered's on the way in. Amy, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Austin, for all your work today. I'm Ray Dunn. Talk to you again real soon right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.